All right, we're live with a very special guest.
Live, live. What up, everybody?
So I'm going to like kind of set a ground rule for this
Mm.
conversation and for all the kind of future conversations, which is I think really cool, like based on the idea of a good popping solo, which
Mm.
is you just give yourself time
Mm.
to get into it
Yeah.
and you don't feel any pressure to
Mm.
impress
Yeah,
anyone with anything,
for
and you
sure.
just trust that the energy will ultimately take care of
Mm.
everything. So I just assume that with like that in mind, amazing things will happen. So I feel like before I you know talk so
Yeah.
much like I always do, I feel like that you in our conversations you just have so much to say. And
Mm.
so before
Mm-hmm.
I start like, well, what do you think of this or any like, is it is there anything, I
Mm. I mean, I guess you know, uh, the reason why. I guess we can talk about why I was kind of interested in doing this to begin with. And that was because I don't really speak out as much. I don't really talk as much. I try not to stay off of the internet. And I think, you know, because of that, I think people don't really have an idea of where I'm coming from or, what I do. I might be this mystery to people, and they might associate me with being a bad person as well because they don't know me or being cocky or, and I think, also people don't know my like overall goal or approach towards dancing, and I think I'm hoping that we can do this interview for that, to try to get some clarity out there and people can kind of see where I want my dance as well as like what I see for the future of the dance culture.
where do you want to
so
take your dance?
um so the way I see dancing is as an art form. I don't think of it as like a series of moves. I saw a comment from a kid on YouTube, and he was like, "Yeah, Slim, does like a few moves and like this, and then he does like some sloppy stuff or whatever. I don't know what he was talking about, but yeah, just to clear it up, I don't do moves. I don't go and create sets and a lot of times I don't really choose the music, even for judge solos and stuff like that. I'm very like I look forward to challenge, and what I try to do is I try to put myself in kind of like this kind of like zone, and really focus on how I want to show this music with movement. Um, and I guess like my ultimate goal is to be able to um, show the music at a very, very high quality with movement and technique and things like this. And, you know, I want to be the best that I can be. And I've also learned that being the best that you can be also means you don't have any limits. There's no limitations. Uh, So with that, like I'm finding myself learning more and more new things every day about myself, and just learning from people and getting inspired from other people and uh, different styles and stuff like that. I mean, there's so much that we can talk about. But
Yeah. Of what you said, the first thing that it makes me want to talk about is like one of the things that stands out to me most about
mm,
your dance is how consistently patient you are,
mm, mm,
and
mm,
how much that seems to go along
mm,
with interpreting music, is giving yourself the time
mm,
to uh, to let the music start sinking
mm,
into you. And
mm,
I, as like a dancer, I know that it's really hard
Yeah.
when you're in front of all these people
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people have paid money to bring you somewhere, and it's like, okay, impress us,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
show us that it was worth it.
Yeah.
And you see it a lot. You see a lot of people that don't aren't able under that pressure to give themselves that time. So like, is that something that you have learned and developed, or is this part of your personality?
I mean, if we were to go through like some older footage, you know what I mean, you'll see like it was just like, because I had no idea. I was also taught that like, or I thought that.
Here, one second. We're getting a message that
Okay.
people are having difficulty hearing.
Oh, hearing.
So
Oh, okay. Just
tell
gonna put
guys,
that
tell
right there.
make sure that tell me if it's better.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if we go through the older footage, like from like 2006 or 7 or something, it wasn't always like
Right.
pacing myself and stuff like that. I think I started doing that later on because I started realizing that when you jump into something, that's with anything, when you jump into something without any control or any like consciousness, you just kind of lose yourself in that same momentum. And when I dance, I want to feel every part of the music, not just one beat, and the way I try to do that is by like being really patient and trying to take my time and feel different areas and really fill out the atmosphere and get the energy from people as well, because I think that's like a really big important factor with dance is that the people that's watching you, they also give you some type of energy, and so I try to also give them that same energy with the patience and stuff like that. So yeah, so I usually do that. Pacing myself is my way of trying not to lose control. It's my way of trying not to go super crazy and kind of build into it. It's like a movie, when you watch a movie, you don't see the movie from like the freaking crazy stuff till like the really calm stuff. You see it from like the calm all the way up until the crazy. So I try to think of dance just like that. It's an expression. So I want to express myself and bring people into my world. What I feel with this song.
So this is super interesting to me because it's very much something I struggle with, and when I think about it, part of what I struggle with it is it's a lot of energy coming at you, and to kind of ground that energy and stay patient, I find to be really, and especially I think when you do start slow, the energy goes up.
Yeah.
Because people start settling down and actually looking, and now it's almost like their partial attention is on you, and now it's like their full attention is on you. So how do you what's your relationship like with that? Like that all that energy. Like how even to the point of like how does it feel in your body? And because I have to think any dancer knows those times when it's like it's too much. And you start
it's
rushing,
going crazy.
Yeah, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I think 2009 and at IBE, this was like my like biggest event, I think, for my dancing, but in 2009 I remember looking around and being like, dude, there's so many people here, and I mean, it was
Wait,
like,
is this with Farside?
With Farside
that
and
one.
Bionic,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was huge. That was the first
you
international
versus
event.
Kite in a certain way. Yeah.
It's funny too. People cut that video with me and Kite, but it was actually me and Djawi that were battling. But yeah, that event, I just looked around and I saw the people, and then I completely, every time I dance, it was like a blackout, and I'm also very spiritual too, so I think that plays a big part with I really believe in faith, and I believe in like trying to bring positive energy. And if you go out with that mindset of just doing what you love to do and being genuine, not trying to get a response from people or not trying to impress anyone, but more working towards your self growth. I think that's what kind of draws people in. It's because like I think people look at it and they're like, this guy's not really worried about me, or so now I can kind of like focus on him, you know.
Do you ever like on the, because that's as you know, and maybe you guys will quickly find out, that's one of the things I feel like we have most in common is spirituality.
Yeah.
And like a very, not just like kind of, but really a very important part of our
Definitely.
lives. Do you ever feel, I don't, at least at this point, but do you ever feel almost as though any kind of like blessing of people, does it ever go that deep for you, of like I'm giving these people my soul or my energy?
Like do I think that people like I'm receiving that from people?
No, like
or
give
like giving.
like your intention when you go out.
Yeah.
Like I'm this is my offering.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
you.
I don't necessarily like think of it in that sense. I think yeah, I don't really think of it in that sense. I just feel like, you know, when I do like teach or when I see people or when I dance, it's not like, hey guys, I'm performing for you, so appreciate it. You know, it's that's never really been a thought in my mind.
Even back then.
Yeah, well, back then, you know, over some years I started learning more. But before, there was some confusing times where like I would feel like, you know, I would lose a battle and be like, why did I lose? You know, I was, you know, doing this, or people would kind of hate on me and I'd be like, why are they hating? You know? So yeah, back then there was like that kind of, you know, I don't want to really say ignorance, but, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
immaturity.
I feel like that's one of the you know, like Picasso, one of his best quotes, I think, is like, it's taken me my whole life to learn to paint like a child, right? And so I feel like that's one of the most challenging things that I experience is, how do you access that place where it's not about them and it's not about impressing them? And that can go for a lot of things. That can go for an audience, that can go for a cipher, that can go for the judges, that, you know, your teachers, you know, like I was telling you, I was with Tabot last night, and I experience that every time I'm with Tabot. It's like, okay, he's watching me.
Yeah.
Like
I had that same for a while with him too, because I mean, that's like the ultimate teacher for me, you know? So like when we would be around each other, that was an issue for me. Like, Tabot's here. Sometimes I'd be like, oh man, I don't want to see Tabot today because he's gonna talk crap and, you know, give me.
And you know he knows.
Yeah.
Like you know that everything you're doing, he's
knows.
he's
He's
judging
it.
it.
He'll come up and be like, hey, you need to work on this.
Yeah. Like I'm just trying to have
Yeah.
fun, man.
But yeah, Tabot, man, that dude, he's such a good dude. But yeah, I think for me, what I learned is going overseas. You know, the people, they want to see you. You know, when you go there, when you get flown out, they're like excited to see you. So on top of like, you know, the overall appreciation of them being excited to see me, there's also that expectation to be like 100% of what they expect of you, you know? And I want to say, you know, that I think is a hard thing for a lot of dancers traveling overseas and having to impress, you know, them, because if you want to keep getting flown out, you got to keep impressing no matter what. And for a while, that kind of like was in my mind. You know, that was a really difficult thing for me to kind of get over. And then I started realizing something about myself around that time is, you know, what I'm trying to do for people, I start not being myself. And I had to learn that being myself is what is going to help me to grow. I can't grow if I want to impress everyone else, because then I'm just doing things that people want to see me do. So I started to, you know, branch out and not. I have like certain things like I don't really practice with a lot of people. I try to really keep to myself.
Do you mean you literally practice a lot just by yourself?
Yeah, yeah, I practice. I practice a lot, man. I'll just go to the parking lot near my house and I'll just put my headphones on, or sometimes play this, put the speakers on, and just practice. I don't record it. I don't try to. Try to feel it.
Where do I don't know if I'm assuming, but I feel like a lot of people would want to know, like, where do you get the motivation to do that? Is it completely just a natural part of who you are to practice, or do you push yourself at all?
I think, I would say for myself, my motivation for that is like I want to get better, and not to impress someone, but because it feels amazing to find out something new, or to improve, or to even feel that improvement. It feels really good. And just to see, like, if I can do this, then that means I can do this, and that chain just keeps going. And I've always had that. I mean, I've always been very like kind of nerdy, I guess, with that type of thing. And before I used to do, I used to skateboard, and I used to play basketball, and I used to sing too. And I started to learn about limitations and stuff like that. Like when you're skateboarding, first thing you learn how to do is you learn how to ollie. And then after that, you learn how to, okay, if I can ollie, I can do a flip trick. So you try to do a kick flip. If I can do a kick flip, that means I can do this, and then it keeps going and going and going until you start like wanting to go downstairs. That constricts it is like the people that feel like that this isn't right, or this isn't, popping. That's the only thing that kind of like gets in the way of like creativity right now, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And that, I just to be really explicit about it, a huge part of my motivation for doing this is to be a part of a movement of moving past that, of being really strict with what I consider the foundation, the hit. We can get into that too, what it is to you, but like the hit, the dime stop, the form, the groove, the vocabulary. But aside from that, like, take that core and run with it, because every environment I've ever been in, and I feel like what you've created with the lot is one of the highest levels of that. Like, the core is there, but then beyond that, it's about experimentation.
Yeah.
It's just such a beautiful thing to be a part of, as opposed to so many times and ciphers I've been in where it's like, who is doing the thing that we were all taught to do the best? and even if you, it's like one of those things where it's like, even if you win that game, there's no good feeling on the inside. Another thing I just want to say to people is, I like, this is so much in line with my theory, what he was saying about skateboarding, that I highly encourage people to find some hobby other than dancing, where it's more obvious, like whether you can do it or not. Because I have seen again and again that people that come from some background where you either can or can't do it, they learn how to practice in a way that people who don't, because dancing doesn't give you that. It's not like you can do a wave and you can't do a wave. It's like, it's all very subjective. But with something like skating, it's like you either fell or you landed it.
Well, I think also, like, what I've learned has been an issue with people overseas is variations of things, like how to do this differently. I mean, that's usually like a question when I teach privates or teach classes or something like that. They just don't know how to do it differently, because the way that they're taught is this direct way. And I mean, that's good. I mean, you have to know like how it was created, or how it was like formatted. But then once you learn the format, I think after that, that's when you need to figure out how to apply that to yourself, because everybody's body's different. Not everybody moves the same way. Not everybody weighs the same. So the people you're learning
Flexibility.
from, yeah, the people you're learning from might be better at like controlling things with their upper body than their lower body. So you're learning this upper body stuff, but you don't have that. You have more control over your lower body. So how can you complement that or put that into yourself? And
I was even thinking about like the way that I learned the twisto flex and the way that like I just passed on how I learned it to when I show people, and how it's kind of crazy because it feels like to me the twisto flex, if you really break it down, is about learning to separate your head, your torso, and your lower body. And I feel like moving forward, I really want to experiment with teaching it that way so that it becomes more like I feel like the most successful teaching I've ever done to my standards is with finger tutting, of turning it into this game of like you can pivot and you can slide. And then it's just like you can do that in all
different directions, yeah.
and turning it into a game where as long as you're playing by those rules, you can move into space.
Yeah.
Rather
really
than
good.
like this is the original finger tut, and if you have to learn that finger tut and then you can branch out. I very much feel both. It's such an interesting thing about learning something in a specific way, because it's like a gift and a curse simultaneously, because it constrains your creativity, but it also gives you this thing that most people don't have. And I feel like as we now move into an age of being like as much teachers as students, that finding new ways to teach things is so that the next generation can get the core, but without as many of the limitations, is really something that I feel passionate about.
Yeah. Sorry, my sister just sent me a message.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like dude, there's so much growth with the dance, with popping. I just feel like there's been so much controversy and all kind of things like that. But I guess we can get into it.
Yeah. Here, this is so this guy Chris Stein. Do you know him?
Yeah. No.
From London.
Maybe.
He's one of the original London guys. He's like
Nice.
he was good friends with Fawn, my teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he asked a question. I like it.
Yeah.
What are the boundaries to the culture of popping? Be it musically, dress, attitude, and when does movement move outside of popping? Like what is the boundary if there is one, when something stops? Like I guess the way I want to rephrase that question is like, what is the boundary where you're still and is that even like is actually a good question?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a really good question.
Is that even something that you're interested in personally? It's like preserving popping
So I guess we can start why like I've always loved popping. That was like I love the way it looks, the feeling, everything, the culture. I fell in love with the culture because of what it is, and as far as like myself, I started learning that there was so much that was input into popping. Um, for example, and I don't really want to name drop, but I guess I'll name drop. uh, but I really, the first time I saw Boogaloo Sam, um, I didn't get it. I was just like, okay, this is cool, But I liked more like Wiggles and stuff like that time, and so later on, it wasn't until like I think maybe last year or something like that, I saw Sam in China, and he was teaching a class, and I was like, oh shit, this dude's super high level, and like I understand why, and I started noticing like a lot of things that he was doing with like timing and his control and like the angles and the feeling. It was
Dime stop.
a lot of things that like people overlook. They only see the like the shell. They don't see the like inside. So when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, if that's okay, then I should be able to create myself, because okay, somebody had to be like had to create something, before all of this. They had to have been like, okay, this is dope, and created it, and then people started seeing it. So why can't I also create myself from what I see other people do? So that's kind of like been my thing, is to obviously preserve what it is, but to create myself and to inspire others to be creative within themselves. Because I think the only way that the dance can hit to another level is for people to be able to create. And you know, if they're not allowed to create, it's going to end up being this lost style. And like with locking, and I'm not really big in the locking community, so I don't really know so much, but I do know that there was a lot of controversy before with people not doing locking correctly. And, a lot of people found it very difficult to, um, you know, stay in the locking community because of that. And popping could turn into that if people aren't allowed to explore within it. When I dance, I use all techniques of popping within my dance. But because
What is it? Let's since our
Mhm.
audience is so popping centric. When
Yeah.
you say that, like the techniques of popping, what are the
Mhm.
thing? What does that mean to you?
I think for me, obviously the hit is like a very big point.
Let's stop there for a second. So I went when I was at freestyle session.
Uh-huh.
Beam, yeah,
Beam.
from Vietnam.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
Lamb
Mhm.
Beam. Beam, you gotta pick a name. It's gotta be Lamb or Beam. It's too confusing for me. Uh, but he was saying to me that
Mhm.
he was watching you very closely on the
Mhm.
first day, and from his eye,
Mhm.
and he's training, the Tabo
Oh, the
method a
Tabo way?
lot,
Yeah.
and he was like, Slim didn't hit one time, all shakes, all shakes. So, from your perspective of your body, is that somewhat
So
accurate?
the shake. So we gotta get really clear with
Yeah,
what
yeah.
shake control is, and the difference between shake and hitting.
And we can also just so we can
Yeah,
get
yeah,
up
yeah.
and demonstrate and stuff.
So the shake itself doesn't use any muscle. There's no muscle that you use. It's very relaxed. It's just like very what's the word? Very precise with the timing for the music. Um, and as a result of that, it can do a few things. It can show the music, or it can kind of like uh, make the movement look slower or weaker. There's different ways you can kind of like work with the whole shake control thing. But because I use the shake, I have to also use the hit somewhere else. So you might see just only the shake in my hand, but my leg would be doing something else. And I try to do that because I don't also want people to know where the hit comes from. I learned that the hit is supposed to look natural, and you're not supposed to know that there's a hit somewhere. So I think a lot of people watch the videos and they're like, oh, he's not hitting. But, and then we can point some stuff out in some of the videos we see. But I do hit like in all areas of my body.
Is this something that like was there a period of time where you were like super nerdy about training shakes with hits in different parts of like this? The hand is shaking while the leg hits, or while the shoulder hits, or
well, I mean, I think like even right now, what I've been trying to practice is I want to kind of say it's like manipulation with movement. So like I might be thinking to go one way, but if I feel myself going that way, I'll go in the opposite direction, and I'll try to use, it's kind of like my way of tricking myself to try to find new avenues and things like this.
Skeet was really big on this.
Yeah, Skeet Rabbit.
One of my favorite things he would say is it's easy to do what you know.
Yeah.
It's hard to do what you don't know.
Yeah. So I try to do stuff like that, and I've kind of learned that there's different parts of my body that can like show the hit in a way where it will look like in a weird angle, or there will be like this, but even the cameras sometimes won't catch it, but I know, like, I can feel the hit, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of like a weird thing. I think for people, when they see people pop, it's usually because it's like in your face, like it's like this, and like, of course you're going to see a pop if it's like this, but you won't see any kind of hit if it's like inside like this. It's just going to look like a bunch of shaking or movement, but there's a lot of things going on in my body at that time. Even I know some classes I take, I have them feel, your lax. And they get surprised. They're like, dude, I had no idea that you can hit there. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually where most of your hits come from. It's just that we're not conscious of it, but you're actually you're using this. This is supporting some part of movement for you,
I feel like the more I learn about this stuff, the more I feel like we've sort of just barely scratch the surface of how deep just shaking and that and hitting and the relationship of hiding and creating the optimal effect. And even like I remember way back, Andre would tell me that depending on what the environment was, he would rotate his elbow differently to show the audience what from their perspective would be a straight line. And that was at the time I heard that, it was so far ahead of where I was at that it sort of was just like, what? But now I can begin to see that, as you get past, as you begin to master the foundation, it's almost like your brain has enough processing power to begin thinking of things like that. And it makes me think of like all of these artificial intelligence programs now that are beating humans at chess and everything. They're finding like new strategies that no one ever even thought of. So I feel like it's likely to happen with that in popping as we move beyond just like flexing the forearm into all the different ways that you can create effects.
Yes, exactly. Dude, there's so much, and I think a lot of it has to do with music too as well. I think the music helps to create that effect, or that those certain ways to hit, and I mean, it's not just shaking your body, I try to show people like the difference, with vibration and like shake control and stuff like that. But there's like a huge difference, because you're still trying to control how intense it is, and I'm also adding like the same hit, so there's still a hit from my arms.
Seems like it'd be a good time Good time to do a little
We
demonstration.
can try.
Yeah,
We
you want to
can
give
try
it a shot?
See what the camera does.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right. Boom. Hey there, guys. All right.
My sister said, "What kind of socks you got on?"
Oh, is she watching?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. What's her name?
Tiffany.
What's up, Tiffany?
Yeah.
What's up?
Okay, so you know, first we can kind of do this one to start, which is just going back and forth. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to like focus on my pinky finger here, and as soon as I get to the point, I'm kind of like flicking here. So where the hit comes in.
Are you rotating around the middle finger?
Exactly, exactly. So where the hit comes in, now when we do a hit going like this, going down like this, the pop, right? You can kind of feel the feeling here. So you can kind of see my fingers are kind of like relaxed. I don't want to make my hands super tense, because if I do that, the effect of the shake is going to also get complemented. So what a lot of poppers do is everything is tense here. So you don't see any shake. You just see the hit, right? So if I don't create, some relaxed feeling, you're not going to see a shake. You're just going to see a pop. But as soon as I get relaxed, then you're going to see that shake. So a lot of it has to do with relaxing
really
yourself. Yeah. And I think the more people tense up, the less of that shake effect that you're going to get from your popping. So with this, it's the same thing. I'm still using here to hit, but if I don't relax, you're not going to see that shake or that effect. You're not going to see any animated, control. As soon as I relax, it's the same thing, except for now you can see more of the shake and the effect happening.
So just in case the camera is not super picking this up, what I'm seeing is that when you're tense, right? So my hand is tense right now. No matter how hard, because I can see when I do this, and it feels to me like I'm having an effect.
Yeah.
But when I watch him, I can see very clearly that just because it feels like you have an effect doesn't mean that there is an effect to the eye.
But what will happen is, even on camera, because sometimes it doesn't pick up really the shake.
Yeah.
What the camera will pick up is probably something like this, because this is like a little bit of a bigger movement. But if I do something a little bit more controlled and small, it's probably not going to pick that up. It's the same if I do something like really quick like this to stop. The camera might just look at it like this. But the second I do it like this, which is a little bit sloppier, the camera might pick that up as a more detailed, strong stop. Even though it's not any stop. Like this looks more stop than the and I think it goes against people that do animation, and it kind of gives people that are more tense. It gives them that effect that on camera they're hitting super crazy hard, but a lot of times they're not really hitting that hard. It's not really that clean.
Since I'm already, at least the reputation I have is already as like some shit talker guy, I actually noticed that about Hoan, that for me, I was surprised to see that that it was almost like stronger on camera. I mean, Hoan is incredible, and I would never take anything away. But it was to see that. It's been a long time for me since I know so many of these high level dancers that I've had someone that I haven't seen in person, and I've seen a lot on camera, and to see that what you're saying, like it would I think it would be hard for me to have understood it had I not just recently had that experience of seeing that the experience of being in person with someone is very different than the experience on camera. And I would actually say that is especially true for you, because to me, a whole other aspect of my experience of seeing you in person is there's something very dynamic and electric in the movement. It doesn't always.
Yeah, the camera
doesn't see it. Yeah, these
especially when there's like movement behind it. Like, and I do a lot. One thing, you know, and I'll give you guys for practice. One thing that I usually do is I try to do the slowest type of movement that I can. But at the same time I'm doing that slow movement, I'm still trying to hit like maybe my chest or my legs. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that my movement isn't compromising the hit. And I want to like try to find ways to mix that up. So like even staying in one place, you know, this is kind of like the momentum for most people is like in one place. So even though I'm in one place, my body is still kind of making this movement, right? So I try to still have some momentum or some type of movement in there. That way I can find variations, or like I can find random places to stop.
And would you say one of the things I've been thinking more and more is that this is actually a way that basically the entire scene is going to have to begin incorporating the shake, is because with the we'll call it like the EB style of popping, at least the way I do it, I can't be moving and do, because I can't snap my leg and be moving. So I find that's one of the things that I find most inspirational about you, is that I feel like you get into these positions that like you know like
how does it happen?
How do you actually how are you getting that effect?
I think, you know, Aki, for example, Aki is freaking crazy awesome. But Aki really inspired me because he was like, you know, I heard about him doing Fresno a lot and just only practicing Fresno, and I would be like, dude, that's insane, you know. And then I started like learning something about that. It's the more like repetition is really good, because if you know how to find different ways, you know. So even with like, you know, just like staying in one place and kind of doing the pop, I know that in between, you know, this would be like the normal way, you know, you're hitting back on your legs and your hand at the same time. So I know that this is the normal way, so what I can do to complement that is try to use something else at the same time. I'm using that same hit. And what that's doing now is like, oh, if I can do that, that means I can hold and I can still move and, you know, kind of like create this whole different effect, you know.
I mean, you can't be doing the snap in that, because you still have control over your hips while you're doing it.
Yeah, I think also it has to do with balance and the way that you're positioned, you know. Because, you know, with your hip, even if my leg, let's say my leg is all the way back, if I'm off-centered, you know, there's not much that you can really do. And because like you know, Talbot's center is the butthole, I try to keep like the center here. And with that, I still have control over my hips, and also my other leg kind of controls like how my hip can move too. Even if this is completely straight, my other leg and my hip can kind of help to control that, like, you know, the extra hip. Like I'm not moving from this position. I'm just moving my hips and my core. My stomach, kind of like this, right? So you can still kind of see like all of this going on.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to Brother one night, who's an amazing LA dancer, for those that don't know, and he was talking about, and I see it a lot with you, especially right now, that most people don't move their core enough. Is there anything you can? Does that make you think of anything?
Yeah,
because I notice even in class, there a lot of time, like in the most recent routine, I feel like you're really wanting people to
kind of get like,
crunch, not just like.
Yeah. I think also that's because there's so much more to like groove and movement when you're using your chest and your stomach and your hips, and I think for some reason, some years, like this part of your body really was minimal for a while. It was only like this or like this or like this or like
You
this.
mean for you or for everyone?
Oh, for everyone.
Yes,
for like
yeah.
I think
absolutely.
like this part really didn't do that much.
Keep going. I want to just make sure everything is still kosher.
Yeah.
Okay. Little Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, so I think this part was kind of like not really doing much for a while. I mean, now people are like really like deep in moving here. So for me, I think it just helps with bringing another dynamic to what it is.
Completely.
If you know how to separate, your chest and your hips. I mean, that's just one thing. I mean, look at the roll. Even watching like how it is with when you put your chest over and you bring your hips over, and you can still keep going with that, and you can also do it to where like your chest is like forward here, and you can bring your hips around to meet up with your chest. Things like this, I think, are like bring a whole dynamic to, rolling and things like that. Yeah. And also like you can bring your chest really deep in like this, like kind of digging in. So what I'm doing is I'm using my hips to kind of like push forward, and I'm bringing my chest going in, and that makes it like really depth. But the second I bring my hips back, it just keeps me up in this. Right? So now it's like you're in a whole different like dynamic, Yeah.
But it seems like it requires a completely different approach to the hit. To be able to, because it, like a thing I've been talking about a lot on videos recently is it seems to me like people like YD, Nyako, maybe Schizo. There's a few, Boo Boo, for sure, Boo Boo. There's a few of these people where if they were able to hit and do what they would start running through.
But that's the thing. I mean, right now they're learning and they know how to hit. It's just like, I think a lot of people don't really focus on like how can I hit in this position or in this position, or what part of my body I need to use. And for me, using the hit going in, I mean, obviously there's still muscle and stuff like that being used. I use my lats a lot. I use it to kind of push or things like that. So it also depends on where your arms are.
What do you mean by push with the lats?
So like right now I'm hitting my lats and my shoulder together to kind of get that impact, right? And then there's also the control like in between, like trying to like move and still hit at the same time. I'm still using my lats and I'm also using my stomach because it's all kind of connected together. I need my stomach to kind of make sure that it doesn't just like go like this. So I use my stomach to kind of keep that
to
like
controlled.
Exactly. So imagine that your stomach and your lats.
If this isn't coming through on camera, when he's moving his chest, it's super animated right now. Like there's a lot of going on that is like kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
But if you can do it with your stomach and your lats, that means that like that same control can be from your legs and your neck, or just examples of like how people can practice trying to find ways how, like, what do you need to like control your leg, like how can I control my shake, or what part of my body do I need to be tight or loose and things like that. Like still there's muscle being used, but to people it just looks like a shake. There's I can just shake my body like this,
Mm-hmm.
but there still needs to be some type of control, some type of muscle usage.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
How about you were saying you were starting to say something for people to practice? I think that'd be cool to give something.
Yeah, I think, yeah, main thing is trying to find variations of things with the hit. The first one is just the shake kind of thing here.
How would you show that to somebody like this is that all they know?
Yeah.
Is this that like the very basics of it. So first of all, this is a very basic taboo thing is the fact that with your fingers you can isolate around different fingers.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a concept that a lot of people don't know just to start with. So just that is like the I would say maybe one of the first basic things.
Definitely. So I mean, naturally I'm already like kind of using that.
Right.
But yeah, I guess the same way. All right, so we'll just do this. If you can hit going down, that means you can hit going up. That means you can hit going this way. You can hit going this way. So there's 4 directions. Actually, there's way more. There's like a diagonal and things like that. Think of it like a joystick. And if you can do the hit going in these directions, the practice would be how can I do it faster in those directions, so it's like quick, and it's like natural. Then you can try to do it twice, so you're doing it down, like up, like down, down, up, up.
Okay? You make it so easy.
Yeah. And if you can do it 2 times, then that's when you can try to figure out how to add that effect, so it's not like a wild, like trying to, trying to control it and keep it like contained in one place, so it's not like dun dun. It's like dun dun. So still, my hand is
the fingertips are staying.
And they're staying, exactly.
So as I was like preparing for this and watching footage of you, I started noticing something that I hadn't noticed before, which is it feels like you're using a lot of this stuff to act like it's almost, what's a good way to try to think about this? Because my experience with hitting up until now is that you have this, I either have this or I have this, like where this one is just focused on the chest and this one is focused on the whole body. And what I was noticing is like it feels like with the control you have of this stuff, you can begin playing with music with different to get either a sharp hit or a
exactly. Yeah, I think also I think also if I can use, I used to practice like before. I used to practice hitting everything separate. My arms, my shoulders, my chest, my stomach, my legs, and then like because of that, if I want someone to focus just on my hand, I know that there's how much I need to put into just that hand, as far as like the hit or the power or the dynamic. I know how much I want to do that to keep that focus, and everything else is, kind of like behind. And with the arm, it's the same with the leg or my stomach or my chest or my neck. I try to do just enough. I don't want to like have everything always at the same dynamic, because I want people to focus on this part or this part, and
you use a lot. You also use a lot of things where you're combining that with an isolation, right? Where definitely. It would you may. Like that to me is another one of the most interesting things about your movement is taking these kind of basic popping concepts like the swinging of the arms and then like maybe in the more common way, you might, if you want to go here, the arm comes with it, but you might then
Still
leave the arm.
Yeah, exactly.
And combining the because I noticed that a lot. I didn't realize how conscious this was. The presentation of things, combining the isolation with the hit.
I think also, if I am moving, even if I'm moving this way, if I feel myself going this way, like I said before, if I feel myself I'm going to go this way, I might try to change something up before I get to that point. That way it changes the dynamic, It's the same if I do like robot or something like that, my head kind of stays, but I can still kind of like drop or change the dynamic. That's what I think, because I don't want people to see it, or I don't want to feel like I'm like just doing the same thing.
Right, like it's the repetitive, like they can predict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to like challenge myself also, like, oh, I feel myself going this way. That's why I said the pace is really good to practice when you're just finding yourself side to side and how to still hit and move and stuff like that. So yeah, for me it becomes more of a game, I'm going this way, okay, how can I get this point, this point, this point, this point, and still kind of like keep everything in control and contained.
Would you say, I've never thought of this, would you say that a big focus for you, maybe now it's more internalized, like you don't have to think about it that much, but is where your weight is on your feet? What part of just,
I think the feet,
rather than,
the feet are, I mean, this is, the beginning here, So like the weight is important, not just the feet but the hips as well, and where your head is positioned. I started learning, a lot of foundation with dancing is like actually putting your head somewhere and leaving your head in that place, because with all dances, like even if I put an angle out or try to move, my head has to kind of like stay in that place. It creates a whole different aspect. If I move my head to the side or back like this, all I have to do is like keep my head, and it starts to create like that whole big different dynamic, So the head, if that creates that, what about the rest of your body? What if I can do the same with leading my chest and moving my head around my chest? So I'm finding all these different ways, and I mix those in with like small movements or big movements,
and to get this, you practiced things individually, and then as you got control of the individual things, you then began
to
experiment with putting them, different ways of putting them
not
together.
Just that. I started seeing too, like, a lot of inspirations. Like, Hoan is one example too. I practiced with him a long time ago in Korea. We got down together.
Yeah.
Before he was like super famous.
Yeah.
And me and Kumse were actually in Korea.
Okay, sure.
And I was like, dude, Hoan is gonna be something crazy.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen anyone like that. And he would do things with isolation and waving and stuff like that. And then I started realizing that that's a really big thing, is how to put something somewhere, almost forget about it, and come back to it later. And that's where like all the isolation and things like that come in. People think it's just like
this is the to me what he's saying right now is the most important thing that's been said so far in this. This will change your whole life if you can really hear this.
Yeah. So I feel like, people think that it's just like placing it somewhere. It's not just putting things. It's how and the reason why you are putting it there. What do you want to show for these angles,
And your ability to actually keep them there. Because I know for me, I like if there was a pop quiz and you have to move around the head, and then like I don't have that control yet. Like I've become very aware of that recently.
I think part of the reason too is that people think that they need to just be like this too. As soon as you go up, you're already coming right back down. there's no like going up and trying
Mm-hmm.
to hold and
Mm-hmm.
move to another place. And you know, Hoan actually, when I saw him, that brought some inspiration for me. I was like, dude, I get this now, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
so I you know, not just him, like even Pete and you know, Sugar Pop and a few other people, they also have this very like, they know how to like hold these angles, and even though you might not notice that they're holding it, you might think that it's just like this, it's being held, and there's something else going on before they actually move to another point.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is a good one. I was talking to Tabo last night, and I was asking him. I was telling him that recently, when I've been seeing myself on video, I'm left-handed, and I've just been noticing how much more when I let go, how
Yeah.
often I find my right arm is just kind of dead.
Mm.
And he was saying, when you're dancing, when you realize that,
Mm-hmm.
all you have to do is just keep going and then just lift this hand up and then just keep it somewhere, and then people will think that it's not dead.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you don't even have to. The thing that I took from that is like a lot of the improvements, they don't have to be super dramatic or massive changes. Just the act of placing something somewhere is a lot.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I think that's a problem with some people, is figuring out how to use like both hands at the same level, you know.
Yeah, he was saying, because I was like, oh man, he was like, no, don't worry about it. Slim has that problem too.
Well, I mean, before it was really bad, you know. I was really like right hand all the time.
Yeah.
And now, like, I try to, I don't even really focus on it, but I think of like more so how to cover space,
Right.
you know, for that.
It feels like tutting has
yeah,
really
definitely.
done a lot for you
Yeah.
with moving.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, shout out to Tetris,
Tetris.
and Steen.
Yeah,
and
wow, Steen.
Yeah, Steen. I think Steen opened me up to a whole different dynamic when it comes to tutting, because Steen was like doing like tutting with like big angles.
Right. And
Yeah,
moving
and
around
moving around,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like keeping that whole isolated, you know. Also, Future and Rashad were really close to him as well, and I started seeing them taking inspiration from Steen. And yeah, dude, that really opened up a whole new avenue. And then I started seeing flexors and stuff like that too. And I think a lot of flexors and like Memphis juking and stuff like that, they have these big angles. So that helped me to kind of like be like, okay, I can kind of like still do big movements and still manipulate myself and still keep that like tutting or like that kind of like weird vibe, and then come back and contain everything, you know. So I want to think of it as like this, my dance like a freaking paint blotch that you just throw on and it just like starts to
The what I'm getting also is like a video game.
Yeah.
Right? Like more like like I remember when Tetris first met Maury. Maury told Tetris, "Oh, your tutting is so amazing. Now add texture. So, you know, maybe instead of going to here, go get there in a different way, like change the speed or, you know, different things like this."
Yeah,
so
dude,
the
so
impression I'm getting from it's like you get this control and then you get it's like you're getting more and more levels, and now you know this angle, but now you know how to move around this angle, and then now you realize, oh, I can even let go of like this whole King Tut thing, and now I can do that with anything.
Yep, exactly.
And it turns into this whole
really huge. Yeah, I think like that's why I said again, like the foundation is so important, because it helps to figure out how to create. So it's like you can build from that, you know. So so that's kind of like the backbone of what popping is.
What are things that just come to your mind when of foundation?
I would say like so I would say for me personally, because I started off learning like boogaloo, but I started learning boogaloo from tapes because I wasn't really. I lived in an area that was far from really like learning, and so for me, like it was learning like how to Fresno and how to do the old man and things like this.
Do you still consider this an important part of foundation?
I think what's so crazy about the Fresno and old man is that they both have like this, like kind of like a picture. I started learning how important pictures are. Like if you take a picture of anybody doing the Fresno, it looks cool. And I think if that is not foundation, you can't really define that this was a style. So I think like how cool like the EB style is to me is that like most of the things in that, if you take a picture while someone's doing it, it looks cool in every single angle. So that's why I'm like, okay, it's important. You have to learn how to do this because this is like an important part of popping.
And it's interesting because in the Bay Area, they even have a whole style called posing, right?
Yeah, and the Bay Area style is dope too because strutting is like another one. Like when you see somebody doing strutting, you take a picture. Every pose looks dope.
Right. Right.
So I started like understanding the importance of the foundation, and then I started learning how to take that. Like I kind of have like an inverted thought for this. So like I'll take the foundation of like the Fresno and I might not use the same type of hit or like structure of it, but I might just go back to it later and then make that into. So when people are probably taking my picture, it's probably on something like this, but then I'm finishing off on the same Fresno type hit. So I think of it as like
it's so crazy. You know what it makes me think of is like the like music that it actually, let's just say, I don't know, something like a kind of glitchy modern funk. And when you pull it apart, the core of it is like legit 70s funk. But then you just break it all apart, and when you put it back together, if you don't have the background knowledge, you wouldn't even think it's the same thing, but it actually is.
I think that people don't really know that, but I think that's like very, very important because like that's how I started from popping, was from all of that stuff.
I think that's really important because it's been funny to me to see there's absolutely now an emergence of what I would call like slim clones beginning, right? As you become more and more known. And I think it's really important for them to know that if you don't go back to the core of where you went and started from and build it out from there, there will you'll always be just looking kind of like a close, you kind of dance like that slim guy, as opposed to taking those same, because I think the beauty of what I'm hearing is like you took all these different pieces and your dance is your way of putting them back together, but each person who takes the journey that you took because of their body, who they are, what country they're from, all of those kinds of things, when they put it back together,
it's gonna be different.
It won't look anything like you. But then when you guys connect, you'll realize like, you know that too. Oh, Oh, I know. I'm into that too. Oh, that's cool how you... Oh, I never even thought because it's so infinite, like a Rubik's Cube, you know? You can... There's so many ways you can take these things.
I thought that's what kind of what brought me into popping was like seeing people dancing the same style, but it was different. Because of body type and things like that. I think things started kind of getting a little bit difficult when people weren't doing it the right way, or they weren't,
Sure.
you know, like meeting the expectations. And I think that's what kind of like made it like, okay, you gotta do it like this, you know.
Yeah.
But the beauty of popping, I think, for me, is seeing people that do it, but in a completely different mind,
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. I think also too the approach and the mindset is very important. And Slick Dog actually, because I was in G Style before.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, let's.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
What?
We'll get deep. Yeah, we'll get deep real quick.
Okay. One sec. Okay, I'm back, and now you're back, and now the camera's back. Okay, good. We're back.
What made you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, here we'll get to all this. We'll
Okay.
get to all this. So you were in. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no.
So when
that's
I
amazing.
when I first started popping, I was losing a lot of battles because I didn't really know the styles. I was just copying from the videos that I saw because it was kind of hard to get. I didn't know where anything was.
What gave you the confidence to even enter battles?
I think I've always been a man of faith, and yeah, I don't really let people tell. Like if someone says you can't do something, I'm like completely opposite. Like, what do you mean? I'm gonna do that 100%. So yeah, that was kind of like my thing, and I think I personally didn't want to enter that battle yet. I wanted to kind of improve. Actually, Tabo was like, dude, you should enter. Just do it, I think that was his way of trying to tell me, hey, yeah. So I entered. I think it was B-Boy Summit, 2005. I think.
Six?
Yeah, 2006. That was
and
my first big
where
comp.
you got through the. It was
Yeah,
like
almost got through the
Wait,
prelims.
you didn't you? Didn't they like?
That was
you
my-
didn't, and then you did. Wasn't it like that?
Yeah, it was like I didn't. No, it was like I did, and then they did like another round with a few other people, like Salah and a few other people I think were in that round. But I ended up not passing that
Okay.
prelim. But that was the first battle that I
Yeah.
entered. So for me, it was like, oh snap,
This is JJ and Toshi.
Yeah,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. And then like I think a few weeks later, I entered another battle, and Slick Dog and a few other people came, and Frantic was there, a few other people were there, and I lost to, I can't remember the guy's name. I lost to this guy, but he's a real cool dude. I lost to him, and Slick Dog came up and he was like, "Dude, you killed it," And he was asking me to be a part of G Style and trying to tell me about Frantic, but I wasn't really wanting to get into a crew because I wasn't even sure of like my dancing yet. I wanted to like improve more. And he was like, take your time, like chill with Frantic. Frantic's cool. Frantic lived near me, and Frantic was cool, like super cool. And yeah, I started hanging out with Frantic. I entered a few more battles, and I was like, okay, let me try G Style. Let me see what it's about. And yeah, actually, like Slick Dog is a really really cool dude. Like when he was talking to me, like the things that he would tell me, and this is why I say that the mindset is really important, because one thing I learned from being in that crew was that you have to believe that what you're doing is right. And
Wow.
the second that you don't believe that what you're doing is right, when you start questioning your movement, that's when people can see it too.
It's
it's the
crazy.
same
This is
thing.
what Tabo was telling me last
Yeah.
night. He was like,
Yeah.
Otis, like
Yeah.
you have it.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
just have it.
Just do it.
Just stop.
It's when you question yourself that things become complicated. It's when you go on stage and you worry about the thousands of people around you that you don't, fully express yourself. And I think, Slick Dog definitely was one person that really expressed uh, that to me. Like he was really boosting my confidence within myself. And the reason why I left G Style was because of, I didn't personally like, there was some little drama that I
Let's
didn't
not.
personally
Yeah,
like.
let's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended
No
up,
need.
leaving. But,
The other thing, to just in case this brings up something for you, because it was really crazy to me, because Kid Boogie just brought it up to me, and it was something I was thinking about. Is both of us were very recently like really tripping out on Daryl Stokes, and the thing that struck me the most was that what you're talking about is like this feeling of like when he comes out, he fully believes in what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really big factor in dance or anything that you do creatively. I mean, if you don't fully believe that what you're doing is right, it's not gonna appeal to others as right. So even Tabo would always tell me, like, if you put one hand up, you have to make sure you put that hand up where you wanted it to go. And people react to things like that. They can feel that. They can feel that energy of what you're doing. It's when you're like, um, should I do a tut like this?
So how do you because to me you're simultaneously a confident dancer and also an experimental dancer, and that I think is especially challenging because part of being creative and experimental is doing things that you don't know and doing things you've never done before. And usually even like you get I feel like the most basic way to understand that is like whenever you teach a total beginner, one of the most challenging things is how shy they are because they've never done it before and they're not sure if it looks good or if they're doing it right. So it seems to me like in a certain way what you're expressing is like your desire to always be pushing yourself into that place where you don't know what's going to come out, but then you're also wanting to be confident in that. So how do you have thoughts about like balancing those two things?
Um, mm. Yeah, I mean, I guess one big thing. If you watch, I mean, you were talking about like a shy dancer first starting, but I mean, if you've ever watched a person that just started that's not shy, and that's really interesting to me. That's like the complete opposite. It's like, I don't care what you guys think. I don't have this technique, but I'm gonna do it, and I get inspired from that because I'm like, dude, this kid's been dancing for a month and he's like killing it right now, because he's expressing himself. I try to really encourage people to be more supportive of others in the dance culture, because I feel like it's important for people to have an environment that is comfortable in order to be creative. And I think once you restrict that from people, that's when they become shy and unsure of what they're doing. I don't know if you've ever watched battles and seen judges when they're sitting on the chair and they're just straight faced. And you can actually see how the people dance compared to people when the judges are actually like smiling and like kind of like.
I want to give a shout out to Kid Boogie in this regard because I think he's such a great judge in this way of every time I see it, it's like the way it comes off to me is like he's such a fan of the dance that it helps create
definitely,
that. And
definitely.
I really respect that a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a different feeling when it's like more support behind it from the judges. Like you feel comfortable in that environment, and I think, for me, I try to think of it as that, like it might seem that I'm like super confident, but that's only because I have a lot of faith, you know. Dude, I was really shy kid in high school. I grew up with Dragon Ball Z and just drawing Dragon Ball characters in my little notebook at school, and not really talking to too many people because I wasn't very popular, and coming to a whole different dance culture where people know who I am and things like that, which is like a crazy blessing, um, but it's complete opposites. So like, there is confidence, but it's faith more so than it is like, you know, oh yeah, I'm this, I'm slim. Yeah,
Sure.
it's more like um, respect and love for the ability to express myself freely. Yeah.
What I want to can you talk more about faith, because that's such a there's so much to that.
Mm.
Like what is that maybe what is the difference for you between faith and confidence, for instance?
Um. So I mean, confidence is very similar. I guess faith would be. There's a scripture actually in the Bible. Faith is the substance of all things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And I think
Will you say that again?
faith is the substance of all things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen.
Does this, when I hear that, do you either now or in the past or both, do you spend any time or much time visualizing, either intentionally or just like like when you were drawing in your were you always in a very imaginative person?
Oh yeah, definitely, dude. I'm still like a big kid inside, still play video games and stuff like that, and like I'm very I really explore with the creative illusion and artistic parts of dance, and like what if I can do this. I do draw and paint these pictures in my mind of like myself moving and stuff. But yeah, I think like you said, with confidence and faith, I think the confidence part is that like I know that I can do it because there's nothing else stopping me from doing it except for myself. I can only let people tell me I can't do something. I can only let a situation make me not believe in myself. And that's where the faith kind of comes in. It's where like I have to have faith, even though I don't see it there. I know it's there. I know I can reach this higher point.
Since so much of the audience of the people that will watch this are people who look up to you and dream of being where you're at, and probably a lot of them struggle with stuff like that, with belief in themselves. Will I ever be good enough? Or do you have any advice to them, or words of wisdom, or something they can kind of hold on to?
Yeah, I think you can only be as good as you want to be, as good as you'll allow yourself to be. At the end of the day, it's kind of like, how far do you want to take it? Are you gonna let yourself, deny your blessings, pretty much, and yeah, I mean, I came from a completely different background. Dance was nowhere a factor. I didn't start dancing till I turned 18.
Did your family have any kind of
Actually,
like musical or dance
yeah,
background?
my father was a locker. Apparently,
What?
yeah. I didn't know. I talked to my mom.
Sure.
And they've been divorced for a while, but she was saying like, yeah, he was in the newspaper, and yeah, he was like a really good locker. But I mean, back in the 80s, there was a lot of really good dancers.
Well, I mean, but of all the things.
Yeah, but that was pretty ironic. Yeah. So, I mean, still, growing up, he never brought up dancing at all. And he was like, being black and like this, hey, basketball, so that was
Uh-huh.
kind of like the thing for him, that was like, yeah, that's what's gonna make you successful. But so I started playing basketball, and I was pretty good,
Uh-huh.
in high school, but it wasn't passion.
Sure.
It was just, I liked it, but it
Did
wasn't
you
love.
when you were talking about Dragon Ball and all of that,
Mm.
it's I would think as a black kid
Mm.
into that stuff
Mm.
maybe a bit ahead of
Mm.
when it was maybe more normal for black kids to be into. I don't know for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Did
My
you
neighborhood
deal
was a little bit
Okay.
different. Yeah.
So was that a thing for you at various times of like,
Yeah.
because that's such a stereotypical like,
Mhm.
oh, you're a black kid, you should play
Yeah,
basketball,
yeah,
and to find yourself being
Mm.
drawn to other, not
Mm.
things that maybe you're not being pushed toward. And
I think I've always been attracted to being different and creative, and I think that's why I kind of got into skateboarding and
when
stuff
did
like
you?
that.
How old were you when you got into skating?
I think I was like 16 or 17,
And
and I got really, really good.
and how long? How were you
Mm,
really like?
I
That
think
was
like
your thing.
I think like it didn't take long for me to start learning how to
Sure.
do it.
But
But
I mean,
I,
how many years was that your
all the way up
focus?
until 18 years old.
Okay,
And
so
then,
a couple years.
yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, I almost got sponsored by some ride shops, and people started noticing me and stuff like that. But then, like, actually, I met Johnny Five,
Uh huh.
and he was the one that got me into popping.
And
He pretty much showed me that.
did you meet him through skating at all?
I actually met him in a rave.
Okay.
It was so 18. I went to my first rave. I saw Kid Boogie and Jay Smooth in the rave. I didn't know them.
Sure, sure.
Just doing like their thing, and I kept going and going. I was doing house dancing that time. I wasn't popping.
How did you get into house dancing?
It was from watching that rave. Actually, that rave party was the start off of me dancing. Actually, at 18,
How
my
did-
18th birthday.
How did on your 18th?
Yeah.
And you met Johnny Five?
And I met, I saw Kid Boogie, Johnny Five. He was there, and a few others, but I didn't meet them yet. We were just in the same
You
environment.
know what's really kind of trippy about this? Your story and Tetris's story are really similar.
Oh, really?
And he was a skater
Yeah.
who went to a rave
Mm.
and saw Pandora and Todd,
Oh, really?
and maybe Wavo or
Yeah.
something. But yeah.
Yeah. So, I saw them doing house, like a bunch of people there doing house dancing. Well, house dancing at that time, LA house dancing. And I went home, and like I was like, dude, I loved it. I freaking loved everything about the whole culture. It was so warm, and um so yeah, I went back home and I prayed and I asked God if this is a part of my life, to move people in my life, and then I started going to more raves, and this is what I mean about faith. I felt like this was a calling, this was something for me, and then I started meeting more people. I turned, I think, 20, and I met Johnny Five.
Oh, so 2 years?
Yeah, yeah.
So what was the uh, I don't feel like getting up and demonstrating or anything,
Mm.
but what were the first things you learned? Like, how did you start by just trying to copy things you saw, or did somebody
When I was
actually-
doing house.
Yeah, did
Oh
somebody
no,
actually
I
show you?
literally just like saw them dancing, and I just like copied it. I just went back and practiced what I saw that
Yeah.
night at the rave.
Yeah.
And I went back to another rave that next weekend, and people were, somebody even asked me like, "Hey, how long you been dancing for?" And I'm like a week. And it's like, oh, dude, you're crazy good. And then I was like, no, I'm not that good, And then I started getting more response from people, and
Wow.
and then I met Johnny Five, and Johnny was even impressed too with like how I was
Uh-huh.
dancing and how long.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, and then he started popping. He was doing house.
Yeah.
But then he started popping. I was like, dude, that's what I want to learn.
Yeah.
Right there,
Yeah.
And then Johnny's like, dude, I can teach you, bro. Like, I got you. Like, when
Yeah.
you're ready, let me
Yeah.
know. And we finally met up, I think on my 21st birthday. And I was like, dude, I want to learn today popping, and he was like, okay, I got you. And he taught me how to Fresno, and how to hit,
Uh-huh.
and then he introduced me to Tabo, and that was
Wait,
like the start off
right?
of
Oh,
everything. Yeah, that
are
was
you kidding
yeah,
me?
that was like the
Wow,
start
you're
of
really
everything.
blessed.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's what I mean. The importance of faith. You know, if I would have just been like, oh, I'm not sure, I
Sure.
wouldn't have taken that leap to try to even keep going to these things, or to keep like trying to meet people. And I think that's why faith is such an important thing. You know, you gotta believe that what you're doing is what you want to do. It's right. You know, I think that's what happens with people. They start to question certain things, if this is the right way or if this is the wrong way. But I never questioned it. There was no doubt in my mind. And in between that, there was a whole bunch of stuff that was like trying to, come in the way. Hey, you're 21 years old. You can't start dancing. Or
Mm.
you're this old. Like, what are you gonna do with that?
Mm.
The age thing. Oh, you should go to college. And that's
Mm-hmm.
that way you have this. And there's a lot of things that people would say, but I would always be like, oh well, if you think I don't do it, then just watch. There's actually one girl that lived in my neighborhood when I started learning house, and she was like, "You're stupid. You should just like stop and do something else." And I hope you're watching right now, because
I have one of those too. I have one of those too from
yeah,
when I started learning.
yeah.
She told me we went out one night and she said, "Will you stop dancing? You're embarrassing me."
Oh wow. Yeah.
I hope
See.
you're watching.
Yeah. 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 Faith is important, man, for sure. For sure.
Do you feel called to speak? I could listen to you talk about faith
Mm.
like a
Mm.
lot
Yeah.
longer. I don't want
Yeah.
to put you on the spot, and I don't necessarily have
Yeah.
like a
Mm.
question,
Yeah.
but I feel like this is really core.
Mm. Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, I could talk
Yeah,
about
please,
faith forever.
please do.
I think for me, what I see mostly with like people that are learning dance, or trying to do anything with their life, is the stress that they can't do it, or that it's not possible because people think or give you this like the right direction to go. It's kind of like, in America, the right thing to do is to graduate from high school, find a girlfriend, go to college, get a job, you know, marry her, get a house, get a car, and then get your dog, and then have some kids. And that's like the American kind of like lifestyle. Um, and if you do anything opposite from that, it's kind of like far fetched or weird, or, it's impossible. And I mean, not just that. I mean, I think society is kind of making it impossible, the way things are formatted for you to have a successful life. And that's where my faith kind of comes in. Is I'm like, I don't have to do this to be happy. This isn't what makes me happy. I think Jim Carrey, there was a movie that he did recently. He said, what did he say? He said, why do something that you hate to do when you can also fail
Oh, I know it.
at
I
that,
know this thing.
at
So
something that
his
you
Jim
hate?
Carrey's dad
Yeah.
was like
Mm.
really, I believe, was really funny and
Mm.
had his own dream of
Yeah.
being a comedian, but instead he
Yeah.
became an accountant or
Mhm.
something like that,
Mm.
and then he completely failed at it. I
Yeah.
can't remember the circuit, like he either divorced or went
Mm.
bankrupt or something like
Mm.
that, and it was this signal to Jim Carrey that's
Mm.
like, oh my God, you can fail at the backup plan.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if you can fail at the backup plan, at least maybe give it a shot at trying the thing you actually love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, but I think I've naturally had that, and
Mhm.
I've just always thought of it. And my mom has always been super supportive with that too.
Mhm.
and believing in me, and teaching me how to believe in myself. And yeah, I mean, I think for everyone that wants to do dancing or that wants to improve in it, I think there has to be the faith behind it in order for you to improve, you know. Um, yeah.
You know, it with at one point with what you were saying, it made me want to ask you. Sometime, do you ever, or did you ever? You know that quote. It's another one of these great quotes about like our greatest fear is not that we're small; it's that we're big. You know, and it's our fear of success actually. And I know that that's something that I experience sometimes. Is like even even in is like even just a great example is like even when I first talked to you and you mentioned my videos, it was like, whoa, he's like he's watching, and that just that feeling of who am I to be successful, or who am I to actually succeed at this crazy dream that everyone tells me I can't. Is that something that you've gone through as you like, because as you do get more successful, new, it's like Biggie, right? More money, more problems, right? You like,
Yeah.
now you got to deal with like traveling, and now you got to deal with teaching classes and people, responsibilities and things like this.
Yeah, it gets kind of difficult, but I think you know with that also comes like so many great things too. From people's responses to their like, the traveling. I think also, like, I think this is a really big point for everyone. When you see people traveling or dancing overseas and things like this, it's really hard for them to perform at like a high expectation. It's really difficult because of the time change and things like this, and also people wanting to see them and things like that. So that's very that to me is like was the only thing that was really stressful before, but I kind of learned how to get past it later on. And I mean, it's not such a it's not like I don't feel like I'm this superstar.
Sure.
I don't feel that. I don't feel.
Well, in that sense, like, when people really start cheering for you, it's like you can how you can kind of pretend, maybe they're not totally paying attention.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
they're not like,
Yeah.
maybe they're just like, oh, that's cool. And then all of a sudden cheers start happening.
Yeah.
You really have to take in
Yeah.
that you're being seen and you're being recognized, and you're being held up. And at least for me, that can bring up all kinds of its own feelings,
Emotions,
of either, especially because I actually think that it's probably most dancers, and maybe most people, but really I feel like most dancers or most poppers have kind of a shy part of them, because it really is, you really do, to get to any high level, you have to spend so much time. Even if you're not like even if we were best friends and we're just practicing, it's primarily like I got my headphones on, you got your headphones on, and it's a lot of like, so the kind of person that's willing to do that is like somebody that is kind of comfortable being by themselves, and then so someone who's like that and then has all this attention put on them, that's its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I do get like, I mean, even when I travel, I think most people know I'm pretty to myself, and I'm in my room with some type of video game activity in front of me. And, I mean, sometimes I don't really get shy when I go on stage because Sweepy actually told me this. He was like, when I dance, like it's just me and the music, and that's it.
He
Nobody
got
else
that
is
from
there.
Sugar Pop.
Yeah. um, and I kind of like always kind of had that. Like when I do get on stage, I'm just like, okay,
You
now it's me
get,
and the music.
you get a lot of cheers, like,
Mm.
and
I don't hear anything.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, you can feel, like I can feel when like the crowd,
it's happening.
yeah, like the crowd is like, cheering it or like giving the good energy, and I can also feel when the crowd is kind of like holding back as well, and not, either they don't understand it or they just don't like it or whatever. But I can also feel that too. But I know that's not my focus,
Mhm.
and I know if I focus on them cheering for me, it's gonna like make me want to have them cheer more for me. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to find ways to
Yeah.
make them
And
cheer
then
more.
it
So it pulls
yeah,
away from
yeah.
the freestyle or creative mentality that I'm trying to tap into on stage.
Have you come up with any strategies for when you're in an environment with like a dead crowd, whether it's a contest or a judge solo or something, like either generating your own
Yeah.
your
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it gets frustrating sometimes because I want them to understand what I'm trying to do, or to, show some like type of emotion towards it. Um, and just recently starting to learn that, when I go on stage, it's if I want to perform at 100%, I have to make sure my head is in the right place. My head is focused on what I'm doing and how I'm, dancing, and not focused on what the crowd is wants. When when you focus on what the crowd wants, um, then for me, for the freestyle and creative mentality, it screws me up because I start wanting to do, like, say for instance, like, this crowd is like really likes tutting. Sometimes in the class, people are like, in my classes overseas, they'll be like, "Can you teach tutting?" I'm like, "Dude, I kind of don't want to teach tutting. I want to teach something else." Uh, but that, like, even on stage and dancing, it's like, oh man, maybe tutting's gonna be the one to. But for me, tutting is something that's completely freestyle. I don't know what I'm doing when I'm tutting half the time. I'm just like, this feels good, let me try to explore. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I gained like a whole new level of respect for Junior Boogaloo
Mm.
about is I noticed like he almost never starts tutting,
Mm.
and obviously like anyone has to know
Mm.
that when you
Oh yeah,
see
Junior
him,
too. Yeah, that's
that's
another one. Sorry, Junior, I forgot. Junior was one. Actually, Junior was the first one that like changed my mind with the dynamic of tutting, because we had like we had a session one time in Japan for like, I think 4 or 5 hours, and I was like, dude, I really want to start learning tutting. And I think I had just seen Steen, and then Junior was like, all right, let's practice. And we went round for round for round, and then like I was like, dude, what the heck, Like he was just crazy with, not like, it's not just isolation. It's like the creative part of
yeah.
it. Like how to be that dynamic with tutting. That I started learning, like, if I can be dynamic with these with tutting, that means I can take it even further. Um, but yeah, I had to shout out to Junior
Yeah,
before
yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot.
for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. Yeah.
It so what when you see a video of Junior Boogaloo,
Mm.
it's really apparent that most of the time the crowd starts going crazy when he starts tutting or doing cobra or snaking or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And but he almost never starts with that. And yet you
Mm.
could imagine, oh, there's a lot of pressure for him to, just go impress them, go do that. But he doesn't ever seem to succumb to that. He always like gives himself the time
Mm.
to get into the music
Mm.
through his kind of groove style, and then all of a sudden it starts coming out,
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
oh, oh, and it's just struck me recently that it takes a lot of confidence to
Yeah.
give yourself that time or faith or
Mm.
whatever it is for each person
Yeah, definitely.
to trust like how we started this that to just trust that it's just gonna come out
Yeah.
if you let it.
Yeah. I
You
think
give your-
patience is key, man, with everything. I know like some judges probably like, dude, hurry up, get into it, and I know that that's kind of like a thing, like where you need to just kind of like jump into it and already be ready. And I think for myself, in order to like, and this is really big to me, in order to see somebody perform at 100%, you have to give them the environment that they feel comfortable in. And I don't feel like anybody that dances on stage or that dances in any, showcase or something like that, if you want to really see this person at 100%, they need to feel like they're in an environment that's comfortable. Um, and that's why I think also sometimes people judge some videos, they judge people based off of that video. And one week you can be like super dope, and the next week you could just be like super like off. And I think that has a lot to do with the environment that you're in and the energy that you're getting from others. So as a thing for people that are overseas, if you have someone that comes in as a guest, you got to make sure that that guest feels comfortable if you want to see this person dance good. Now, if you're trying to not see them dance good, then yeah, I guess that's like your approach towards it. But if you really want to see the person perform well, or if you want to see a good battle, they got to feel comfortable. And that's why I don't, flip people off in battles. I don't like talk crap to someone. I'll watch them dance. Or sometimes I won't watch them because I'm trying to get into my zone. But for the most part, I try to watch or like, clap if it's dope, and give them that encouragement that like, yes, keep coming, like, because ultimately it's gonna make me want to do more too, and also
and
like,
it gives you energy.
yeah, it gives me energy, exactly. And I think people just forget that, they forget how important that is. If it like they want to see something really dope, and then when it doesn't come out dope, they're like, oh, this person was like this or like that. Oh, he wasn't that good. But they're the same person that was standing in the crowd, like not, like just like acting like it's not important.
Yeah, and this again, just to reiterate, like a very big reason that I'm excited about beginning these conversations is to now begin like what started as like looking, and it's like the internet has now come to life, right? And to now begin hearing the perspective of the people that we're watching and analyzing and judging, to kind of have a broader perspective that when you're looking at things, like you can begin to take into consideration, like, oh, I wonder what day he arrived in this place. I wonder if there's jet lag. I wonder, oh, it looks like, I mean, injury, all kinds of things, and it's I'm certainly have been guilty of just like looking at something and like, oh, that person's not good. But to kind of become a more educated, one of my goals is to help create like a more educated audience.
Yes, definitely.
And respectful and understanding and supportive.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah.
Because what we all want, anybody who's like this far into watching this, we all want to see dope dancing, right?
Yeah.
And if that's the goal, it's like, how do we as a community
establish
work toward creating that?
Yeah. I think that's one thing, is to be welcoming to new people. And for me, I mean, I don't want to like act like I'm trying to tell people how to run their life, but from my experience, I think partially the reason why people don't dance that well in front of others is because they don't feel welcomed, or they don't feel like it's understood, and so they become shy and they can't really open up. Um, that's like, I don't really watch sports as much, but I mean, I guess that's kind of like the goal in some sports, like basketball, for example. If you're playing at home, you're going to get more support. And when you go to another place, they're trying to make sure to throw off that team, because it's not their home. So they want to like try to throw them off. And I think, we don't, if we, because of how dancing is, if you really want to see someone dance well, we can't be that um, you know, that home team all the time. We have to like support everyone in order to like keep the growth and to keep that culture what it is. It's very me getting into it was very warm. So I'm hoping to like keep trying to strive to keep that warmth.
Yeah, and I feel like to go back to one of the things you were saying, one of the reasons you were excited to do this so that people almost like humanize you. You're like you're not cocky.
Yeah,
you're not,
yeah.
so that maybe people, because I'm sure a lot of people are intimidated. They're like, oh, he's this guy, and
Did you want to check these questions?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure we had a few of them.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
Good. I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Here we go.
Oh, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Oh, Tiffany. Oh, wow. We got Flavabot. Wow, we got all kinds of. Okay. I like that one. We'll just go through these. Okay. How do you envision popping? I love it. This is what I was actually about to start talking about. I'll start with this. No, how do you envision popping in the next 10 years in regard? This is Nick. I bet you know this person. Yeah. Nick from Flavabots Taiwan.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know. Yeah.
How do you envision popping in the next 10 years in regards to community, artistry, and culture? You want to?
You can start.
All
Yeah.
Well, this is like, my hope is that somebody was saying to me, I know who it was. It was a Scandinaviator, Hampus. He was talking about how he was really surprised to discover that from his perspective, there's way less politics here in LA in the dance scene than he expected, and much less than he experiences in Europe. And I was thinking about that, and one of the things I said to him is that maybe the reason for that is that our generation is almost like people who survived a war, and we saw so much carnage and so much fighting and disharmony that we don't want to recreate that because we saw like that it didn't help anything and it didn't make anything better. I mean, actually, that's not totally. I'll give a shout out to Slick Dog because he pushed really hard to open up a lane, and so maybe it was necessary. But the person that really got me thinking about this is I saw either a class or a cipher that Future did recently, and the vibe was just so like weird and experimental, and it felt like this environment was created for people to really begin exploring their bodies. And I feel like as we begin to cross-pollinate with all of these different communities, like for instance Slim's class is often held in like a Burning Man kind of space, so that has its own effect on the energy, and like a lot of contemporary dancers are starting to get interested in popping and vice versa. I really feel like we have the potential to co-create this environment that's just truly special in the sense of a super high level of artistry combined with an incredibly supportive like group of the leaders. To me, it just for what it's worth, in my mind, the leaders of the community that I'm in as I see it, are Slim and Kid Boogie and Frantic, and that's just my personal feeling. And these are such talented people, and if as they can set an example of these things of dedication to the craft, but also total openness to new people and being supportive. I really envision in the next 10 years more than popping, like street dance or whatever, dancing to this kind of music that we like to dance to, being something that's like genuinely a very special thing in the world. And I had an experience that I've talked about recently. I'll just say very little about, is that I really think that there's a chance that with all of the shifting going on in the world right now, that there's a real potential for dancing to be significantly, like, to go up in the rankings of art in terms of how much it's rewarded and respected. And I think we can have a lot to do with that happening by creating this environment that when people see it, they're literally blown away by the combination of how much of a positive community environment there is, combined with the level of the skill and the talent and the creativity, to the point where it becomes like, one of my favorite books is by the comedian Steve Martin, called Born Standing Up. And he realized like he was never going to make it in the traditional Hollywood way. And so he decided that his goal was to be so good that they couldn't deny him. And I feel like this culture really has the potential for that, to just be so amazing that it can't help but blow up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to totally agree with Otis on how the growth is. I think, overall, my expectations for the dance is that it will be known, and I think right now it's not very much known in the U.S. about street dance. I think people kind of think of it as like this step up type illusion, and I'm hoping that eventually, people will see that there's some crazy talented people that just don't even know about, and it's not because of anything, but because society kind of doesn't want that to be something. If you go to an audition with like super dope popping, you're probably not gonna make it. The person that would make it would probably be somebody that looks a certain way or meets a certain criteria for the music video or movie or whatever. So with that, that's kind of like messing up or not giving the shine to the dance community, to the underground dance community. It's more so for the people, for the image, for Hollywood. I'm hoping that this would be the opposite, that people would start to come to more of the underground, and Hollywood would no longer be that source of what dance is.
And Hollywood's like on the decline.
Yeah, I think so right now. I think so too. I think what was it, World of Dance, and I saw the Les Twins or something. And what sucked to me was that like I felt like I couldn't even watch it. It was like giving me vertigo, I was like looking at feet and then arms and then a hand and then a head, and then like I'm like, I can't see anything. And the crowd's just like clapping for no reason. And I'm like, well, okay, what's happening?
I think this is actually one of the greatest things I could say. There's a guy, Gary Vaynerchuk. You know him, Gary V? Okay, he's a real popular guy on the internet, and he was talking about. Somebody asked him this question, like, what did he learn from hip hop culture? And he said that the thing that he always loved about hip hop is that hip hop made the world come to hip hop. Rather than hip hop like selling itself out for acceptance. It was such a defined culture that when the world shined a spotlight on it, it changed the world
Yeah,
more than
that's
the
true.
world changed it.
That's true. Yeah.
And I feel like that whole Hollywood music video path is basically like the path of death to me personally. And I I think that, you know, like even look at the person asking this question, Flavabots. I mean, you guys, you're part of doing the very thing that we're talking about, which is creating this new context. And I think in much the same way that mixed martial arts and UFC, like maybe 15 years ago, was like this tiny little thing that, you know, nobody made much money and this and that, and people worked really hard, and now, you know, it's like it's one of the biggest sports in the world. I think that, you know, with patience and dedication, we can really, as a worldwide community, because dance, you don't have to speak the same language to appreciate dance. So it's like an inherently global phenomenon. You can really turn it into, I don't know how that looks, but I think if we get the core of it right, like the positivity and the dedication to the skill and creativity, and have faith, it will all kind of work itself out. All the right people will find themselves in the right place to play their part, you know? All right. So next, I'm not super into these kind of questions, like the kind of like,
Oh, he asked. He had another question. Ever Zik?
yeah, before.
Yeah, I
Oh.
think it was right above. Yeah, I'm interested in popping, but I'm 18 years old, and I feel I'm
That is
too
so
old
funny.
to compete against
You
someone.
feel
who
too
started as a
old at
kid.
18.
I think we talked about that though. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
neither of us
Yeah.
even started when we were 18.
Yeah, yeah. Let's
Um,
see. What is your most memorable solo, and what made it memorable?
we can also there's a lot, so we can skip ones that
Yeah.
are, you know.
I don't really have, dude. I'll be honest, Chris. I don't really. I'll watch something, and I watch it to try to learn from it on what I need to work on. So I don't really have like a favorite particular solo. I would say like right now, what I've been focused on is from 2017, and it's not online. And it's just to like try to practice and try to work off that. Yeah.
I like this one. Another Chris question. How has your music taste changed over time? What changed it, and what impact has it had on your dance?
Wow.
And maybe we can fold the next question into it. What's your favorite type of music in DJ and stuff? I want to give a shout out to Rock Swift, who I think is the best popping
Rock
DJ.
Swift is
to
dope.
me
Yeah.
personally.
Oh, speaking of that, he's DJing tonight at my event, actually the Lot Originals event, at Creatington. Oh wait, all this talk about appearance on camera is really interesting. I wonder how this conversation would play out. Okay, what was it? How has the music
How has your music taste changed over time? And it has, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. When I first started, I was super into like house, so that was kind of like the music. And then I was told that house music is not the proper music for popping. In the beginning, it was more like funk and stuff like that. And then I started to learn about like the old school music, and I really liked it. But then it started getting super overly repetitive after a while because every battle was playing that music. So I was like, okay. And then came like Bryce loops and stuff like that. You remember Bryce loops? Bryce loops
for sure.
and
What's up,
and
you know that Sticks, right?
Bedu
Do you know
edits.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bedu edits and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, these are dope, And then like it was like really hard, like kind of like beats, and then that stuff started to get kind of like, okay, like I need something more, because I was like getting like just like hearing beats. I needed like something more.
Wait, what describe like? Was it too repetitive? Was it not enough lyrics?
I think because
emotion or.
I think because it was loops, and it wasn't like any change in the music really. And then also the tempo was kind of like a little bit faster.
What is? That's a cool. What's your? Do you have like a Do you know tempo? Like,
Yeah,
do you
I
have
mean,
like a
I don't have like a proper metronome theory for like the
do you have
type
a
of tempo.
favorite like
I would say for me, I really like right now. What's like a really good genre? It's like lo-fi.
yeah, I
Um,
also like lo-fi a
um,
lot.
yeah, it's funny. It went from like house to this super fast pace to this like
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
slow
yeah.
down. Yeah,
Totally.
I think the lo-fi music kind of helps because I can really get into it instead of being on top of it, and
Yeah.
I kind of like, and I think that's what made me change
Interesting.
the music is because now like I'm trying to get more creative with dance, um, and so in order to do that, I need to find ways to input that, and then like also not get bored of the other stuff. So when I do enter popping battles, I don't know half the crap that I don't listen to.
Right.
I don't listen to popping music, and like rarely at all, like even try to play it in the classes and stuff like that. But um, you know, sometimes I'll bring funk and stuff because funk for me, like still, like if I don't listen to it for a while and I come back to it, I'm like, dude, this feels good.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, totally.
So I try to preserve that. But yeah, I think lo-fi music and things with lyrics, R&B and stuff like that. I think those are really important for me.
What made you? We may have covered this. What made you get into tutting and creating abstract lines tuts? And what do you think of flexing and flex connects?
This stuff on muscle control. What muscles do?
How do you keep being so animated? Do you flex at all?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I.
Oh, somebody said we're going in and out.
I hope not.
I think you're good now. Okay, he's good.
Oh, look, Gary. This is Gary's awesome. You're amazing and such a good dancer in person.
Oh, thanks, Gary. Appreciate it, buddy.
Da.
Dragon Ball. Somebody said something. Dragon Ball.
We did that. Animation has been rising in the last few years. Do you think poppers will start learning how to incorporate animation with popping in the future? I think that's happening.
I think the future is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
not even, I'm not going to say any names, but I even think OGs are using, animation and stuff like that and popping. And I think it has a lot to do with like the range of things that you can do with the music, with the technique of animation. You can do so much more with music.
Yeah, I feel like when you any technique that doesn't require you to become tense, it allows it doesn't limit your movement at all. Because tension, you can only have your leg or your hips tense in like this big of a box.
Yeah.
But your legs and hips maybe have that big of a box. And
but the tense part, I mean, it may look like I'm super relaxed, but there's always some part that's tense. And the reason why I keep some parts tense because I'm always switching between like shifting weight and things like this. So also to keep like shape or picture, I need to keep some part tense. So maybe all of this is tense, but my arms will be super relaxed. So, and that's to create that. Yeah. That's where the animation comes in. And that's why animation is animation, because you're trying to you're taking all the technique and you're creating this character or this image, And so that's the mindset I have. So I know if I want to put my leg like in this area, I need to like try to make sure that it's not just boom boom. I want to make it like so like it's animated, So I'm trying to like create that with my whole body, and trying to make sure that that's like what you visually see.
And it feels like maybe like when I think of the music that I picture you dancing to these days, the thing that I see that it has in common is it has enough space in it for you to start going inside your body. It feels like those Bryce Loops Bedu edits and stuff. I feel like the energy is so high.
Yeah.
There's a lot of focus on
Yeah.
arms and legs and jumping and ground moves
But you can do it eventually.
Yes, yeah.
But
yeah.
I think like, you know, what I learned is like going from that slower like lo-fi music and then going into like the Bryce Loops type stuff, it slows it down. So you find out you have more time in between the 1 and 2 to do so much and still stay on that tempo, you know? I just think that you know, a lot of people didn't have a chance to know that because they didn't also understand how to slow down music. And I think lo-fi music has a very good way of like putting all these different sounds in between this like slow clap. There's like all these like, you know, and it's still in the tempo. So you take that and you do this, like, you know, apply that same like dance mentality.
Dude, AA Ron just came on.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Ron, you gotta ask some questions, man. Just so you know, you gotta like. It's not a game. So I wanna say before I forget that my intention is that we can raise some funds to bring him back to super nerd out on like animation technique and dime stops and the like infinite ways of hitting. So for those of you that are excited about that, like get ready to pony up.
Yeah, I'm down, man.
Yeah.
Did you want to go over some footage? And then we can.
Okay.
We can
let's
call
do it. How do you start popping? Really, AA Ron? That's your question. I don't have it. I got nothing.
Somebody said it's pre-battle talk.
Okay. So yeah, let's do. It wouldn't be right for us to be here and not do commentaries. So this is gonna now we're getting like super meta because it's gonna be like Slim Boogie on Slim Boogie. So what you wanna start with that compilation, or you wanna start with one of the judge showcases that we picked? What are you in the mood for? Since they all know what I think.
Okay, I think we can do like some of the judge demos because I think
yeah.
also like I think people don't know that a lot of these judge demos I don't choose the music to dance to. Like Free Spirit, I didn't choose the music.
Which one you want to start with? Free Spirit?
Anything.
Yeah?
I think.
Okay, let's start with let's start with the versus style one.
Yeah, actually, this one I wanted to do a whole different song. It was like some R&B type music, or actually, it was dancehall. Yeah, it was dancehall.
What's going on here? What in the? Of course, like, where is the video, man? Okay. I don't know what's going on. The thing is tripping. Okay, there we go. Okay, we got it. All right, so let's go here, and now we go here. Oh, look, it's awesome. It's hi. Okay, so let's make this a little bigger so you can see. And I'm going to give you control. So basically, space bar to play and pause, and then the arrow keys to go back if you want to show something, yeah?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess, we'll try it.
Okay,
so this is to go, and these are to go back and forth. Oh, did I just mess it up?
I don't think so. No, you didn't. Okay. Shout out to Versus Style. What's up?
Oh.
We got to do this. Damn, that would have been messed up.
Let's do it.
I guess also you can ask to.
Sure. Okay, then let's start over because
Let's do it.
So I mean, the first thing I see is like that I'm glad because I've been meaning to ask you is like how much of this comes from skating? Because I feel like your balance and the way that your knees are bent is not
also like on the first part, stepping in, I guess I wanted to like kind of create like a heavy kind of feeling, and I always and like actually like uh dancing starts from the feet. So like I try to really like like be very cautious with how I step or how my feet are, or how I'm feeling footwork wise. So I think like even stepping in, I was just kind of like trying to like feel
the ground.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
You gotta see him. It's corny guy. I mean, there you see, like, this is a thing I've been noticing a lot recently. Like, that's a perfect place to stop it, right? Like, the crunching in.
Yeah.
Like, here, I'm gonna move over a little, so I'm in it at least a little. This crunching that you do. To utilize the hips and the torso.
Yeah. So I want to try to like feel my body too, and try to add depth for the movement. So a lot of times you might see like some like digging in, and then also trying to figure out like how to like get out of it without just being straight, like
So does this kind of stuff also, I didn't even think of it, but it also helps you get into your body, like feeling your body.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a thing that's really easy to overlook.
Yeah.
It's like the feeling inside your body.
Definitely, because I mean you don't want to just be straight up and down.
Right.
At the end of the day, you wanna
Which is
kinda,
a
like,
really
create, like, depth.
big thing in popping.
Yeah,
It's what
definitely.
you watch a prelim, and a lot of people
Yeah.
are just straight up and down.
Yeah. That was a big problem for me before, was just being this flat brick. So it's funny that people haven't really said anything about that. But like my videos, like battles before, they'd be like, dude, you're flat, you don't use your chest. But now it's
Exactly.
the opposite.
Yeah, people like critiquing more than they like giving props. Would this be a good example, potentially, like with your neck here, camera, catching that that's going on?
And then people probably thinking it's a shake or something like that, but there's like there's hitting going on in my body. I'm trying to like complement the music and also create that animated like isolation and all those effects in one. And also use groove in my hips. So I'm trying to do multiple things to like not only feel my body, but to also like, get creative and abstract.
Okay, yeah. So for you, like this right here, like I started thinking like, oh, he's kind of taking. That's kind of a boogaloo roll.
Yeah,
You could say waving or something, but there's a lot of similarity. There is a lot of boogaloo foundation in there. I feel
definitely,
but it's like made small, made subtle.
Yeah, definitely. I try to like input it as much as I can, and to get creative, be creative from it. Also like I think. I try to not show so much, like do like so many different things with my body, because I want people to see like a certain point, or I want to like focus on a certain point. And I know if there's so many things, there's no way of seeing what point is the focal. So like a lot of times you might see like I'll put my hands down, or I might put my hands in some position, and that's usually for that, to kind of like focus.
Like composition.
Exactly.
I like this because it's like there's stuff going on, but there's this it maintains this sort of basic like when a beginner tries to do a wave, they kind of like try to feel like a wave. I feel like this, if you tried to copy this, a lot of people would end up looking sloppy. It's like it feels like there's an illusion of sloppy. Oh, and what else? This is another one too. This is like giving away the secret. That I see your elbow focus there, reaching from the elbow.
Talked about this in the class, right?
Yeah.
I think that's another really important part with angles and stuff like that, because when they think, okay, go and point in that direction, they immediately think to just point with their finger, and when you point with your finger, it takes longer because your elbow is obviously like the way we stand. So I mean, that would obviously be like the cleanest way to create the line, as long as you follow your arm where your elbow is, where your elbow point is going. It's gonna look a lot straighter and a lot cleaner. So I tried to like keep that like okay, elbows going this way.
And how do you mix in the kind of like rawness with that? I think that's one of the more special things about your style is the like there's a lot of people that can be raw, and then there's a lot of people that can be clean. And then some people can like be raw sometimes and be clean other times, but it doesn't feel like there's that many people that in the same round can do both.
Define rawness.
The word I really want to use is sloppy, but in a good good sloppy.
Yeah, I was actually Kumse kind of told me about this. She was like a while back. She was like, yeah, you're too perfect. You're too clean. Like everything you do is too clean. And I was like super offended. I was like, dude, that's like what I'm trying to do. That's important. But after a while, I started realizing like, yeah, you know what? She's right. That I'm trying to perfect certain things, and trying to perfect like where like making sure it's computed. You're just gonna look like this carbon copy or this computer, So I started like trying to figure out ways how to make myself imperfect in my own way.
It's one of my favorite. The person that I think of with this the most is Rashad. I feel like for me, Rashad is such a human dancer.
No, he's raw.
There's so much human emotion in it, and I can see that's good Kumse.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, dude.
The real secret weapon.
She's raw, man. She's straightened me out in so many ways, like dance related. She's always there to be like, nope. It's super supportive, but
okay. Oops, shit. Back a I'm glad, because I actually had this written down to ask you. The dancing that you're doing, I was realizing, like, from my perspective at least, Green Tech's like dance foundation is sea walking. Like he takes this like sea walking feel and then adds all the popping into it, and that creates like him. And I was thinking, like, I don't know I can't place it. Like, you're clear, like, one of the things that I'm often like critical about with people is like, oh, you're like really good, but I bet if I take away all of your technique, like it's not gonna be that pretty to look at. And I feel like your dance ability is very strong, but I I can't say, oh, he's like an old school hip hop dancer who pops, or you know, he's like a juker who pops or something.
Yeah, some people ask me like, you do hip hop or something like that, or I think I tried to. My dance is really based off feeling, man. Like, yeah, like you'll see some days it'll look completely different than this, and I think
like is this would you say like right here that little would you say that's from anything, or is that literally just you allowing your feet and your body to
I think that's
to let go?
Yeah, I think I just kind of felt that kind of feeling for the music, like that kind of like I want to hop right now, you know, I want to do like kind of like a hop, and I also want to kind of like be able to go this side, this side, this side. I want to like, you know, because I really focus on like where I'm not, like what angles I'm not positioned, or what angles I'm not, areas I'm not covering, you know, with my dance. So sometimes I you know, I just do random stuff like that, and it feels good, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna keep just going with it, you know. But yeah, I do get inspired, and maybe like some of it might show with my dance, but I don't necessarily like practice it or try to teach it because I don't know those styles. But maybe like some Memphis juking, or even like you know, Chicago footwork and stuff like that. Like you know, a lot of that stuff I get inspired from, and I try to find ways how to, even house dancing, dance hall, hip hop, all those things. Like, you know, I get inspired from some of the footwork and the movement, the feels, and I try to find ways how to apply that to myself. Not necessarily the actual style, but the approach, you know, and I try to figure out ways how to, you know.
It's interesting. It's almost like when you were talking about how you got into house dance in the first place.
Yeah,
you saw it, and then you responded to it.
Yes,
and
exactly.
maybe what came out isn't what they were doing, but for you, it was.
Yeah.
It's your version
Yes,
of what
exactly.
you're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it? This looks like it's a lot to be able to stick. Like another thing that I've been noticing recently about you is your ability in your lower body to hold something, like have basically to have your upper body stay while your lower body moves, which I think involves a pretty decent amount of like both balance and leg strength.
Yeah, it does. Like it does take, you know, some balance and strength. I think mainly it's just how where you're centered and how to like control the weight, you know. Because you know, I think people also, I think Bionic taught a class a while back about that. But yeah, that's one thing that like some people overlook. It's you can be like, you know, the Michael Jackson, the one where he stands like all the way straight, like, you know, going forward like this.
Yeah.
So there's like a certain place where you need to put your weight in order to create that illusion. And it's the same with like, you know, doing lower stuff like that. Like
I would really have to think skateboarding helped a lot with
yeah,
this
yeah, I
because
think maybe.
like you would, if you don't have your weight in the right place with skateboarding, you fall over.
Yeah.
Right. So you like it. I would think it really quickly teaches you
balance. Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in some way it did help, and I still think about some. You know, when I watch skateboarders, I think about like, oh, the weight's like this, or like where their hips positions and stuff like that.
Hips. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, hips, man.
No, there's the placement, the left arm.
See, you know, covering what areas I need. You know, I'm not covering that area. I need to cover that area. You know.
For anybody that's not seen it, there's like a significant amount of animation going on in the right arm. Head control. There's like I feel like that's another thing that's really easy to overlook about you is that like that right there. How significant what's about to happen, right? The lifting of the torso while the head moving around the head.
Yeah. No, I think that's really important, man. I think we kind of forget about that we have it sometimes because, some people just dance with their heads down or
Right. Especially poppers.
Yeah, yeah. And I think just recently over the few like a year or two, I think I started like trying to really explore more with like how my neck is and how to input that. And if you want to think of dancing as like timing and like trying to use different parts of your body, this part is like I think maybe the most unused, except for like a roll or something. But people don't really try to look around. But when you turn your head, it makes every angle look different. Just from like pushing your head forward or pushing it back, it makes a different look. So I try to like use my head if I forget about it.
Is that inspired at all by Jazzy? And in general,
Dude,
are you inspired?
Somebody
much
was like
or at all by Jazzy?
Yeah, somebody was. I mean, people used to say before, like, yeah, you know how people always try to.
Like
they
you're
try
like
to, like this. Yeah, they compare you.
Yeah.
I didn't really see Jazzy that time, but people would always be like, yeah, you look like Jazzy J. And I was like, oh, who's Jazzy J? And I checked him out, and Jazzy J is dope, dude. He's raw. He's super raw.
He might be my favorite of all time, personally.
Yeah, he's dope. But no, I think Disco Dave, actually, I saw him in New York. Shout out to Disco Dave. I saw him in New York, and he inspired me because he also uses a lot of like head head movement and stuff like that, and like looking around. And
you're right.
I think that that's like really important because it also adds confidence to what you're doing. Because when you're looking down, it makes it look not confident.
Right. I know. I feel like Green Tech is also really good.
Yeah,
at that.
definitely. Yeah.
Here and here and then in the more animated way, Taco.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, Taco's next level crazy, man.
But I mean, like, even just for people, when you see this, what do you see and what stands out to you in terms of like weight? Like,
I guess like you can kind of see like I'm not fully on the heels of my feet. I'm kind of like on the balls of my feet, which is still like kind of like keeping this, like I'm ready to move. And then also like.
So for people that are less experienced, in general, when your weight is on the balls of your feet, you have a lot more readiness to move somewhere else than when you're back on your heels.
Back on your heels, yeah. I mean, not just that. I mean, you can kind of see like I'm leaning back,
right?
With my torso and my upper body, my head, everything's leaning back, but my knees are going forward, so the balance is technically still straight. I try to like at least put a little bend in my knees instead of like standing straight up, so I have like that extra room. We talked in the class to kind of like hit or add an extra angle or like depth to movement.
Yeah, I think that's something that, I hope that this video inspires people to play with more, because the way almost all of us are taught popping, it's a lot of having your legs straight.
Yeah.
And that is very unusual for any kind of like social or urban dance form. Definitely. Where it's usually like this, like your knees are very much bent. Oh shit, they couldn't see. Sorry guys, you couldn't see what my bad. Okay, let's and our whole does anything is there anything you want to share just about going into the playing, or even maybe even like what do you mean by that? Draw a picture.
So like I'm literally like drawing like lines or like showing like, okay, there's something going here to here. Okay, this went from here and now it's out here. Okay, now this is like this. I think that's kind of like the approach. It's like, if you were to like make a trace through like that part, I think what I was thinking in my mind was like, I want to have like this trace, you know, something like behind it tracing to my elbow, and then that comes out here, and then my elbow follows it, you know.
And it makes me think to ask you, because I was talking to King Charles about this. Yeah, do you know what synesthesia is?
Mm-mm.
Synesthesia is a phenomenon where you experience like one sense with another sense. So for instance, it would be somebody who like hears smells or sees sounds.
Yeah.
Do you when you picture these things, the lines that you're tracing and stuff, are they the
Like visually?
sounds like
I see,
you
yeah.
know, like the sound, wow, so you
Yeah, I understand.
does it
what
go
you're
like
saying.
that for you?
Yeah, I
or-
mean, I guess in a sense, yeah, it does kind of, you know.
or is it more, because I feel like there's two ways it could go. One is like it's like that, and the other is more like a video game where like the music is there and you're feeling and everything, but you're more like seeing shapes and you're more in your own world.
Yeah, I think it's more like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm literally like a kid playing in a you know, candy store or something, you know. I'm just literally trying to like build and create.
If there are any talented like visual effects people, you know, anything like that out there now or at any point in the future, please get in touch, because I think it could be really cool in a sort of almost like tutorial sense to almost like visualize like what's going on in your inner world because you know I think it would also really help people appreciate it even more, to see that it's not just because you know like most people they don't even know popping versus locking, like their eyes are not even developed to that point. So for them this can all just look like almost like random movement. It's cool, but it's
they
random.
don't get it.
So
I know, that's true.
if we could help people visualize like what you're actually experiencing,
really cool.
Yeah. So if anybody's excited about that, reach out. Again, like the foundation, like the you know, that's like a necklace. So the foundation is still right there. I know what I'm so glad. So here, perfect. Oh, sure. Sorry, guys. My bad. We did it. I did it again. So, you know, that's a real, like that's like a real hip thrust kind of thing. And, you know, I feel like not many dancers, especially guy dancers, like go there, like let their hips go, you know? And I'm curious, like, because you don't like, you would picture a guy like this if all you saw was like a picture like this. I feel like you'd picture this guy, oh, he's always talking about, oh, check her out, oh, look at, you know, it's like just always focused on women and sexuality and all this kind of stuff. And you know, I don't experience you being that kind of guy, but yet like it's in your dance. You know, it's not a like stiff, tight hipped dance. And so for you, like really this full use of your hips, do you, I don't even know what to like, do you have any thoughts on it, or do you like, did you have to learn to let your, because you know all movement has like an emotion to it, right? It makes you feel things to move your body in different ways.
I think I started learning that the hips like help create a whole different picture, so I tried to apply that. You know, I think dance hall definitely was something that was like, dude, this is really dope.
You were inspired by dance hall?
Yeah. Yeah, I think like a few years back I saw, I can't remember her name. She's like a dance hall queen, but she was doing like animation, but she was also like little small like animated movements, but then she started doing it with her hips, and like I was like, dude, that's really, really dope. But I started seeing how like she was able to still be free up top, and when that happened, it created a different dynamic with movements. I was like, okay, I want to try to learn how to apply that. And start working on my hips and trying to like use, you know, different ideas. I'm
so glad I asked that, because that's so because that's so true. That actually makes me feel like that's probably one of the most under connected things to popping is dance hall, because they have so much animation in parts of the body. Like poppers are all here animating, and dance hall it's all in like chest and hips, and I mean that's like so much more. Like you picture like you can be a super like geek and do popping really well and have people like other poppers, wow, cool. But for normal people, they're like, you're just standing there, dude. Like I don't even, is this even dancing? Like I don't get it. So wow. Yeah. That's one I encourage people to explore that one. Wow, that gives me, I feel like that explains. This is another one. Like the camera barely catches it. I want to say that this kind of the dime stops right here are so crazy in person, because your dime stop, you're also dime stopping. There's and then there, what are you hitting your legs or
my
left shoulder?
Wait,
the one that we are calling the left, or your left?
My actual left.
Okay.
I mean, you can see the kind of jacket, kind of like. The reason why I do that is I don't want you to see where that is coming from.
Right. That's your right. Normal. Right? The one with the arms up.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. That's your right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to look like.
So you're disguising the hit.
Exactly.
Crazy. Like I couldn't imagine watching everybody like.
I guess it could be kind of the same variation to like a back wave, you know. Inspiration from seeing the back wave and like learning how like to kind of like dig in and keep that same image.
Who did you?
I think Tabot kind of showed me some stuff. I saw Kay do some back waves before, and Taco and Kid Boogie. I mean, a lot of people do it. I guess it's just like a different variation of it. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Very nice. You want to do more?
Yeah, I think we can do one more.
All right.
Let's see what the questions are.
Okay.
If I have any questions, and then we'll kick off.
Oh no,
Hey, I wanna.
music is too loud. Shit. Oh no. Oh no. Sorry guys. Oh man. Uh
Hi from
damn.
France. I think Otis
Okay.
we're doing
We
this.
so next question. Sorry guys. I don't know, that may have not worked. My bad. We're still getting the kinks worked out. Damn, I should have kept this open. My bad. Slim, can you give me some tips for training by myself, like how long to practice and what to start with?
Um, give him some tips from where to practice, how to
How
practice.
long to practice and
I think we can do another video
Sure.
after, and then
Yeah.
we can fix it.
Yeah.
Where to practice, how to practice, where to start from. I mean, man, I think practicing alone is probably like a really hard thing for people to kind of get into. I know myself, I get distracted sometimes, and I'll be like, I kind of want to play PlayStation right now, and but you just gotta kind of set a goal for yourself. I think that usually helps. Like, okay, today I'm gonna work on this, this, and this, and try to like stick to it. And even if you have to work in different, like break it down in different time frames, like okay, 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, something like that. Whatever feels comfortable. Just as long as you set that goal and you kind of like go with it. That was like very helpful for me. I think starting off, I would dance like. I would wake up in the morning, I'd take my sister to school, and then I would come back home, I would work out, and I would practice like all day until she finished school. Then I would go pick her up from school, come back home, chill for an hour, and then Tableau would come. We would practice and chill, and then go to the club, and I would do the same thing every day for like 2-3 years, I think. Yeah.
you hear that? So it was interesting because at your class last night, Tableau was saying to me that if the students, if this is all they do, is just cipher with each other, it's dangerous. That's the word that he used. Because what he said is that you can hit a plateau and you don't get through it because you're not also drilling techniques.
Yeah.
So when you say practice, what does that, how much of that is like potentially doing things that like aren't fun and just literally
I mean, it was a
drilling?
lot of it, man. I mean, luckily,
were you also doing that by yourself?
Yeah. Tableau would always be like, oh, nope, you don't have it. And he was kind of like, I'm very thankful for Tableau because he would always kind of keep me very humbled, He would keep me straight and be like, he'll give me homework. He'll be like, okay, you should work on this. I'm like, okay. And then, he'll come back the next day. Do I have it, Tableau? He'll be like, no, you don't have it. So I would go back and practice it. And yeah, but there was a lot of very, things that I thought were stupid at that time, but I used to this day. And even some things I thought were stupid that I'm just barely finding out how important it is now, So, the dumb, boring, like little small hits and practices that people might find unimportant are really important later if you know where to apply it,
Yeah. So one of the thing, so in addition to what Tableau said about that, another thing that a way that he was explaining that to me is that he used like Van Gogh, the painter, as an example, that like he did so many drills, like painters, because in drawing and painting, they've done it kind of like the same way for so many hundreds of years. They kind of have it figured out how you build it up, and a lot of it is technical training. That's not about like painting pretty pictures. It's literally just about learning perspective or color or the various things, and that the level that we want to take the movement is, it involves the same level of discipline. It doesn't just, you don't just get it by going out all the time.
Definitely.
Though that's important too. Okay, so we're gonna get. Thanks, guys, for for letting me know about the audio. I can easily get that fixed now. Okay, so now we're going to look at a compilation of Slim over the years, and I think on this one especially, it'll be good for you to just kind of talk about like how you have changed as a person, as a dancer, as just, obviously I think the obvious one is like how you dress. So let me just make sure our audio levels are good. So Slim, talk for a second.
What up?
Okay, good. All right. And people in the chat, let me just keep me honest, so that if you need me to change the volume again, I'm happy to do that. I don't think I will need to, but you never know. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Somebody said thank you very much.
Yeah.
No secret. I guess just train hard. Yeah, there's no secret, man. I mean, really, it's all on how you focus, and apply it, where to apply it.
Yeah, there's it's actually, I was taking a walk today with Jenny, and we were talking about how much better our lives got when we realized that like this is our life. Like it's not more than this, like even I'm sure you get booked to go overseas, and it's so exciting, and then one day you're like in some foreign country like playing video games by yourself, and you're like, oh, this is, I thought it was going to be more than this. But then when you come to accept it, I think for me that's where like the training is really I experience a lot of beauty in it now, because I see that the training is the thing that allows the game to be infinite.
Yeah.
Because you can always, the deeper you get into it, the more you see. Like I'm at a place right now where I'm really just waking up to this whole part of the body.
Yeah.
That's all. And that's like, I've been doing this for so long. And, still like a whole new part of the body opens up.
Someone said lower the volume a little bit.
I got it. I did it. I'm multitasking. Okay.
We can just talk while it's playing too. We don't have to. I don't think. I mean,
Cool.
maybe some parts if you want.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, then I'll even, since we're not like super commentating on it, I'll even turn it down lower.
Yeah. The volume. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, let's go here.
I think even now, like you can kind of notice I'm not really using my chest at all. It's more so like legs and arms and, maybe my head a little bit, but not so much also. Yeah, and this is this year. This is a few months ago. But you can kind of still see like the difference here. It's like more like movement, and there's a little bit more chest and, a little bit different angles. Oh wow, dude! Blast from the past.
Yeah, right. That's what, I mean, this one just goes all over the place.
Wow, this is a long time. Well, I guess you guys kind of know the difference here. The pants.
I mean, but I already see the double hits, or you're clearly already well into animating.
But you can also see a lack of like the control.
Yeah,
I think
I'm very interested in this clip, because I actually think this is there's a lot of like
Yeah.
rawness in this
Yeah.
one.
I think like the hits and stuff like that. What I started to learn later is that all those like kind of like big kind of like double hits and stuff like that show like the impact, but it also constricts something. So it's kind of like how to still do this and have this like you know this much impact in what way, and where do I need to put it,
Right, and what I see now is like you
scary, yeah.
use that,
Yeah.
but not all the time.
Yes, exactly. Because I also want it to be a surprise too. I want it to be, all the time.
This is like Slim Boogie. This is your life. Like when
Yeah.
I love this. Like I think this is super dope. I was almost gonna make a video about this. The way like not that many people can keep their upper body so still while their lower body moves that much.
Yeah.
That's really illusional, I feel like.
Yeah, I think this time, it's more like also keeping my head. You can kind of see my head doesn't really move out of that space. My head is kind of like in one angle the whole time. So like my body just kind of has to move around it, and that keeps the balance. Because, I mean, wherever your head goes, your body wants to follow it. And I guess you'll kind of see that later. It's last year.
Oh, shit. It must feel good to see Andre, like enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, Andre is so dope, man. It's just crazy support.
Wait, is there anything you can say about this whole sequence? Because it's so starting about right here. It gets so animated, and it's like these are not positions that you commonly see people animating in.
Yeah. I guess like I still want to hit everywhere. Let me try to do this everywhere. I don't know what I'm doing actually. If in case people are watching this and they're like, "Dude, this is a set." I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't practice that or something like that. It's just kind of like, okay, I want to do it here. Let me do it here too. Let me try to do this same thing up top on the ground. Yeah, this event. This was this year actually, and you can kind of see a change too in environment. I think we talked about this before. There's the crowd wasn't very like. And I even think this time I was kind of trying to get the crowd to kind of like give me energy. But I wasn't getting it,
Really?
And it also, like, in my mind, it started kind of feeling like, come on, I need something. And this had a lot to do with, like, being tired and, jet lag and also maybe not eating. And these are things I think people don't really put in play. They just kind of want to see, like, the best Slim Boogie every Judge solo,
Right. It's funny because this one might be my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because I see that, like we were talking about, now you're choosing when to use like the double hits, and like different
and movements.
Yeah,
and
different
stuff like that.
approaches.
Yeah.
Like, and that I think that's super creative. That it's almost like a forward leg hit to lower.
Yeah.
Like that's not something I feel like you see that much. And then like a kind of weird Toy Man variation. Wow, this is so cool to do because I
2011.
see so much more. Like what you're talking about, where the chest is more flat and the
Yeah.
head is staying more still, and I wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah. So you can see, like, my chest doesn't really move at all. And my hips also don't really do so much as well. It's more like arms, shoulders, legs, knees, feet. but no hip, no head, no chest. You know.
Was there something that happened that made you start focusing on that? Look at that. Now this is when I was like, oh shit.
Dang,
this is-
2010.
we're
Shout out
really
to
going
Abe and
back.
Last One Stands and Quan, Poppin' Quan, Locking Quan. Look at that. No chest, no head. You know.
I think actually I want to take a moment and say that I hope you guys recognize that someone that probably a lot of you look up to a lot, when they are watching footage of themselves, they are not seeing it how you're seeing it. They're not going, oh, oh. They're going, oh, can we stop watching this? So it never, like, one of the things that I try to convey as much as possible to new people is it like it never goes away. The nervousness never goes away. The like thinking I thought I was better than this never goes away. Like all of the things you feel now, when you get as good as you think you want to get, when you actually get there, you'll still feel the same things you feel right now. And the more you can just accept that that's a part of it, you know, the faster you can get to a place of just going for it. So before anyway, we'll get
Somebody said it's a beta test. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see from that time up until this time, you know, the 2010, 2011 footage, you can kind of see the timing is starting to change. Like even this time, you can still see like the timing's it's kind of simple. There's no speed change or any dime stops or anything like that. It's like very like, okay, I'm going to hit like all of these beats. Yeah.
Wow, it makes me think of Kite.
Yeah.
Kite was like that too.
Yeah, actually, like that was kind of like the approach I wanted. Like I want to learn all this technique so I can learn how to freak like every beat.
Right.
You know, and this is really old, dude. This is when I was super like, you know, everybody was like, yeah, your lines and stuff are super perfect, and look, it's just straight lines, hands are straight, you know.
I love that you put this one in with this. Your eyes are closed right now, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And what do you see as the difference when you see this compared to like the older one?
I think there's a lot more patience, a lot more, you know, trying to control, like to feel my body rather than just throw my body. And I think I fight with myself about that a lot, especially like traveling, because like, you know, you can like get really like anxious, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's like a big difference.
I mean, I would think that one like this, I feel like it would be hard to see this and not be like, yeah, I did that. That's me. That's me.
I think this time, that event is actually dope though. Chaos Unleashed is always dope. But yeah, I think that event, the crowd, this is what I mean. You can tell the difference in crowd.
Yeah.
And the difference in feeling with dancing. Like they were super supportive and super like into it.
Yeah,
so
wanting.
It made me
Yes.
want to get more and more into it. So, yeah. This is the first time I went to Taiwan
Mm.
and I taught a class. But you can see like flat chest, arms,
What
no
what
head, no hips.
what got you to start focusing on feeling your body more? Was it something somebody said, or did it happen from you studying yourself, or
Happening for me learning. This is when I started learning about hips and chest.
yeah,
Actually.
yeah, you can, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it taboo, or was it dance hall, or was it just you?
It was just kind of like, I guess, like self growth, but also Tabo had a big play in it, and also like learning about my body. Just like, I mean, as you progress and you start trying to explore, those things will happen. I think just finding new
Naturally,
things.
yeah. Yeah, Shun in Switzerland, who he's taken private from you,
Yeah.
Japanese guy. Yeah, he was talking to me about that how important it is for people to become aware of their body.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, you got to know your body for sure.
I mean, you can already see it starting here for sure.
I think this one too is kind of a good example of like movement and like being able to use my head and slow down, explore, and also like around this time tutting and stuff like that, covering all the angles, and still having that hit and that dynamic part to it.
And the feel. This
Feeling,
one
yeah.
has so much feeling. I bet this one, I bet there's like a lot of people that have watched this like a lot of times. I feel like this tempo is a really good tempo for you. All right. Oh, shit.
There it goes.
There it
Yeah,
goes.
somebody said, would you say Slim in Freestyle Session 2017 is different from previous Slim? Yeah, I think so. I think Slim Freestyle Session was in a little different headspace for sure. I was really trying to, because I did for a while actually. Sometime this year, I don't know what happened, but I think something started making me less like, oh, it's okay. Who cares? Just battle. Just do it, and I wasn't really taking it seriously. And I think at Freestyle Session, I was really trying to get in my head, really focus on like taking serious this battle. So I was like trying to zone out and really, focus. I wanted to do really good, for myself. I was tired of seeing like, battles of myself, like me dancing on these clips and just being really disappointed because I know I can be better and do better. So, yeah.
So what did that mean? Like, how did you take it more seriously? Like, what was the?
I think the overall goal was to, really like focus, like because I know sometimes like I'll go in these battles and I'll just be jumping around and stuff, and I think at Freestyle Session I was doing a little less of that and more so like trying to really like enunciate. It's like instead of mumbling I was trying to really like speak. I really wanted to like make like impact with my movement rather than just be like, oh, just throw this here.
And how did you feel? How did that go for you?
I think like of course, like watching the footage, there's so many different things that like I can find wrong with my dancing, but I think I feel like I'm not disappointed in myself because I actually put more effort into what I was doing. I wasn't playing around. I was really trying. So that feels better for me than to see a video when I'm not really trying and it just also looks like crap. It's very disappointing. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we did it.
Yeah, we did it, guys.
I think we did it, guys. So The last thing I want to say is if you want him back, you know, like talk about it in the comments, and if there's things, you know, to kind of like set up future things like that you would like to have happen. You know, I think both of us are pretty open to that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to keep
Yeah,
answering
definitely.
questions,
Yeah,
or
of
do
course.
you want you?
Oh,
like,
oh
there's-
no! If
yeah.
I'm coming back, oh,
Yeah. We'll
That-
we'll start. Okay,
You
so
will come back and
the
do it.
next question is how do you train the mentality part of going into a contest? I think that's a great
oh, that's
question,
gonna be a
and
yeah.
and it can be a good first question for the next time. So thank you, Slim.
Yeah, brother.
man.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you.
Yeah, very much appreciate you. Peace.